game winning streak and in hunt for a playoff spot. But across the field, no one else better than Baker would love to end the Vikings win streak tonight and solidify their own playoff opportunities. Yes, it's the Battle of West Mobile, but there's a lot more at stake. We're about to break it all down for you inside the MCPSS High School Football Pregame Kickoff Show. Good evening. I'm Al Wheaton, joined by Corey LeBounty. Corey, we are literally inside the bowels of Clem Richardson Stadium tonight, but I have to let our viewers know it's not due to the weather. I kind of put myself on the physically unable to perform list, so we're underneath the stands tonight.
Well, we'll still be bringing you outstanding high school football coverage tonight, and despite the injury that you have, we will find a way to get it done with our outstanding crew that we have here on the MCPSS television network.
There was no way I was going to miss this ball game tonight, Corey.
The Battle of West Mobile means so much. We'll have a packed crowd here at Clem Richardson Stadium, and when you start looking at these two teams, both of these teams remained in 7A Region 1, as now instead of a 9-team region, you have a 7-team region. And this game tonight is going to decide a lot about who's in and who's out of the 2022 playoffs.
You're right about that. We're going to get to that later on. Right now, let's get to your checklist, Corey. It is huge tonight. So MGM is the visiting team. What's on your checklist for the Vikings?
Mary G. Montgomery must play great situationally. And what do I mean by situationally? Third down and red zone efficiency will be critical for the Vikings. They must also have pressure to pick Flowers. Al, what do I mean by that? Joshua Flowers being the quarterback for the Baker Hornets, you have to find a way to get after him. And the special teams must be sound for the Mary G. Montgomery Vikings, meaning if you are in a fourth down situation, you must flip the field punting the football. For the Baker Hornets, they must be balanced. Josh Flowers can run the football. He can pass the football. Almost has 1,000 yards rushing the football to go along with almost 1,000 yards passing the football. So you want to see great balance with them being able to run the football with their running backs besides Joshua. Stinger defense. They must have that stinger instinct to where they're thumping the opponent and making them feel every single hit, every single down. And you must play a clean game. What do I mean by that? Not a lot of penalties tonight can be called against the Baker Hornets if they want to stay ahead of the chains down and distance-wise.
This will be our second time seeing Baker this season. We featured them in our second ball game where they hosted Wetumpka. And, Corey, they were clearly in charge of that ball game, and one play swung the momentum, and those Indians came back and stole a win from Baker.
We know that Uncle Mo, when he shows up, he shows out. A 99-yard fumble recovery took all the momentum and the air out of the sails for this Baker Hornet team a few weeks ago. They're looking to learn from that and rebound from that, because it could have been a 28-0 game if they punched it in against Wetumpka in the red zone area at the 1-yard line. We'll see if that's fixed tonight, valuing the football.
All right, right now it's time to take it down to the field to our third member of the team, Kimberly Dunn. She's going to check in with us for the BSN weather forecast. Kim, I don't think it's fake fall. It may be real summer. It was hot today.
That's right. While it's a gorgeous night for football, it is a little bit more hot on the field tonight than it was last week. Last week I was talking to my cameraman and said, I need a little jacket, I'm cold, but this week I'm regretting the long sleeves. We're going to be starting off at 78 degrees for kickoff, which isn't too bad. Humidity is only 44%, and we have no chance of rain, so it is a beautiful night for football. And as a former Viking, I may be pulling for a certain team tonight.
You know what, Kim? I'm still waiting for you to bring out that fire. You know, she used to twirl the fire, Corey. So just bring the fire out next week. How about that, Kim?
That sounds good.
Appreciate that. We'll be checking in with Kimberly later on. Corey, talking about the impact, it doesn't look like weather's going to have an impact, but what impact players will have an impact on the ball game tonight?
Well, when you start watching this television game tonight, you must focus for MGM, their quarterback, Jared Hollins. This young fella has almost 2,000 yards passing through the first 7 weeks of football. And the reason he has almost 2,000 yards passing is because of the dynamic wide receiver that he has, Mr. James Bolton. Number 2 in white tonight has over 1,000 receiving yards, leads the state in receiving yards, and is number 5 nationally. So this young man, according to Max Press, statistically is the exception above everyone else in the country right now, the way he's catching the football. For Baker, you talk about Joshua Flowers. He came onto the scene right here on MCPSS television a year ago against Theodore. He's continued to do so well, having offers from Arkansas, Florida, and Alabama. He is the engine for this Baker Hornets team. And a defensive back / returner, Jaden Campbell. This young man was very special on special teams a week ago, taking one to the house, as well as having interceptions on the season. He is coming to his own. His nickname, the Assassin.
Right, the Assassin.
So we'll see him tonight in action for this Baker Hornets special teams and defensively.
Looking forward to seeing all of those players make an impact tonight. Speaking of impact, Corey, this ball game has implications about playoffs. So our good buddy Wade, director, he put together a graphic that's going to show you the remaining region games for 7A Region 1. And we want you to pay attention to how this breaks down, because especially for Baker and MGM, they only have one region game left. Baker has never defeated Fairhope. Baker lost to Daphne. Mary Montgomery lost to Fairhope, but they've yet to play Daphne. And who's playing tonight, Corey? Daphne and Fairhope. We know Foley upset Fairhope last week.
Yeah, it is an absolute logjam when you start talking about 7A Region 1 playoff implications. And not to look ahead, Zach Golson has his hands full tonight with the Baker Hornets. But next week, he travels to Daphne and plays the Daphne Trojans, a team that he was an assistant coach and an offensive coordinator for 1 year ago.
Very huge. And speaking of MGM and Baker, we know it's the Battle of West Mobile, but let's look at the common opponents they've played so far this season, and look how almost equally matched up these teams are as they defeated these particular common opponents. Baker and MGM have both played Bryant, they both played Davidson, they both played Foley. Well, Corey, if you look to the right there, Baker beat Bryant 27-6, Davidson 41-16, and Foley, they had a slugfest at 56-35. On the contrast, MGM, they handled Bryant, they handled Davidson, and they lost in overtime only because Foley went for 2, Corey, when they scored in overtime. So these ball clubs are pretty equally matched up. The combined win total for those 3 teams they face is 3-9, and the 3 wins are the region wins that Foley Lion have.
And region play is so very important because we've seen it again a few years ago with Baldwin County coming in, only having 3 losses on the season, being 7-3. We talked about it, those 3 losses were all in region play.
Correct.
And because of it, they did not make the playoffs at 7-3. We can have the same type of situation here where a team with a winning region record just does not have enough juice to get into the playoffs, and because of it, you're looking at those head-to-head matchups. That's why it's such a critical and important graphic that we just brought up tonight.
All right, speaking of the juice is headed your way. The kickoff is coming up. We appreciate you joining us for the MCPSS pregame kickoff show. Don't move. We'll have the kickoff up next.
As a student in the Mobile County Public Schools, there are a few things I've come to expect. One is a quality education, and the other is a quality lunch. Not only are our school meals well balanced, meeting all federal nutritional standards, but they also have less fat, fewer calories, and they taste really good. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our school lunches contain whole wheat, grains, fruits, and vegetables to give me the energy and brain power to get me through the day.
Parents, if you have a child who will be 4 years of age on or before September 1st, 2023, then mark your calendar to register for the Mobile County Public Schools First Class Pre-K program. Online registration for the 2023-24 school year opens January 15th, so don't miss this opportunity. Log on to MCPSS.com for more information and a complete listing of pre-K sites, screening, and selection info. First Class Pre-K registration, January 15th. Save the date.
So far this season, we've broadcasted the Battle of Pritchard and the Battle of the Bridge. Tonight, we enter the Hornets' Nest on the campus of Baker High School for the Battle of Westmobile. But in recent years, it really hasn't been a battle, but more so of a domination, as Baker has won 12 in a row over MGM. Could this be the year that the streak is broken by the Vikings? Or will the Hornets pull out their stingers and swarm as one to victory? It's time for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Al Wheaton, joined by Corey Labonte. On the sidelines, we have Kimberly Dunn. And Corey, we are close to kickoff. Baker won the toss, they declined, so MGM's going to receive the ball as you see the smoke clearing the field here at Clem Richardson Stadium.
And when you talk about smoke tonight, we're going to have two high-powered offenses. When you start talking about the Baker offense averaging 25.3 points per game, Mary G. So, again, if we were in Fairhope, that cannon would be going off a lot. And because we're not in Fairhope, we'll still have a lot of smoke to clear here senior night here at Baker High School.
It sure is. All the parents were out there escorting the kids before the ball game, if they were in the band or if they were a football player or archery person or whatever. So a very exciting night here in Westmobile. As you can see, the far side stands are just as full as the home side stands as MGM is ready to receive the kick. Jarrell Lett and Shondell Harris will be back to receive for the Vikings. Doing the kicking for Baker, Blaine Munson, and he kicks it off. Taken by Jarrell Lett. Well, no, not Lett.
Looks like a back.
Looked like the running back, Keyshawn Johnson, came in. Take a look at the MGM offense, led by quarterback Jared Hollins. Leads the Vikings on the field. He's a 70% passer with over 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. His main target is receiver James Bolton. Bolton has 11 touchdowns, a 21-yard per catch average, and 1,000 receiving yards. Running the ball will be Keyshawn Johnson, who averages just over 5 yards a carry. Up front is the senior group. Offensive linemen and returning starters Aiden Jernigan and Tanner Finley. The Vikings average 273 pounds across the front. So it's 1st and 10, ball at the 24-yard line as MGM comes on the field. Our first time looking at this offense of MGM. Quick pass. That's the big guy, James Bolton. We've talked about him at the beginning already, Corey.
Bolton, his 47th reception of the season. He already has 11 receiving touchdowns. Last week against Baker, had 9 receptions for 226 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
You can see he has sure hands, but there's going to be a flag right here on our first offensive play.
Personal foul, looks like hands to the head. Gary Malden and the crew, we had them last week when we had our game at Lab with Robertsdale and Murphy. So that's going to be 15 extra yards for MGM, and they are in Hornets territory already.
Well, anytime you can get bonus yardage off of penalty situations, that's one of the things that you needed to stay clean if you were Baker, and that's one of the things that was immediately on my checklist.
Sure was.
Playing that clean game.
You're very right, Corey. You got to be clean. Looks like the ball's on the 47-yard line. Hand off to Johnson as he goes up the middle. Take a look at that Baker defense. The Hornets play a 3-4 with Mike linebacker Gary Byers leading the team in tackles with 90 and 6 tackles for loss. Helping him out is Will backer Jamorion Griffin. He averages 7.6 tackles per game and has 2 fumble recoveries and 11 quarterback hurries. In the secondary, strong safety Clint Hurst has 22 solo tackles and plays sideline to sideline. Up front, sophomore defensive end Tristan Knight will be a disruptor. The all-new defensive line averages 5'7", 203 pounds, and they stopped Johnson right there for a gain of 1, taking MGM to 3rd down.
It's the money down, Al.
You
get positive yardage on 1st and 2nd down, creating right around 3rd down and 6 yards to go. It's going to be critical for Baker to get after this young quarterback, Jared Hollins, who comes back to Mary G. Montgomery after spending his freshman year with the Vikings and his sophomore year in Mississippi playing football.
Yeah, over in Greene County, which is what, maybe 2 miles from Sims, if that. So, and Corey, we noticed before the ball game, he looks taller than he was at media days. You pointed that out.
Listed at 6'5", and we could tell he's all of that, as there's going to be a timeout called by the head coach, Zach Golson, early in the contest.
Got to thank our folks over there at Firehouse Subs for taking care of us. Make sure you go by there and check them out for a limited time, where you get Italian favorites for $6.99. Choose from the medium Firehouse meatball or Italian, but it's for a limited time only. So visit our friends Jim and Susie Sherman at Greelite Road location. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs and save more lives. Also thanks to BSN Sports, where you can get team apparel and equipment from basketball to volleyball and all sports in between. It's BSN Sports, the heart of the game, online at bsnsports.com. I think this is a smart timeout for Coach Zach Golson. He's not a rookie coach. He's been a head coach before, but he's familiar with Baker and playing in 7A ball, Corey.
Well, when you start talking about head coach Zach Golson, he was part of a 2015 state championship team at McGill-Tulane as the offensive coordinator, and he has been around a lot of football. We mentioned him being at Daphne, but here a critical early money down at 3rd and 6 for the Vikings.
Ball just inside of the 45-yard line. Hollins flushed out, rolls to his right side, and that pass dropped by Zion Miller, the 6'6" receiver. Coach Golson say he plays basketball for him, hadn't played football since middle school, but the young man had an opportunity, and covering him right there, the assassin, Jaden Campbell.
Zion Hunter, 6'6", 185-pound junior, being defended by one of our impact players. You just mentioned him. Mr. Campbell has 2 interceptions on the season, and now it's decision time, because when you start looking at where the ball is being marked, right at the 43-yard line of the Hornets, you go ahead and you roll the dice and go early.
Yeah, you're in no man's land right here, so you might as well go for it. Hollins back to throw, pocket breaks down, and he is broken down by the Hornets and sacked. Ball over on downs as Baker comes on the field.
Outstanding pressure by the Baker Hornets, and when you start looking about how important it is for Dylan Hudson to come up with another big sack from his linebacker position, 223-pound junior, playing that bandit linebacker, gets the first turnover on downs, and now the Baker Hornets and Josh Flowers have an opportunity to see what they can do with it offensively.
Baker taking over at their own 44-yard line. Flowers is the junior, as you talked about during our pregame show, definitely an impact player, has offers from so many schools. And Corey, I know we're under the stands, but I think you and I can see that movement right there.
A flag early, and when you start looking about on Baker, getting ahead, you just have to get ahead of the chains, and now you're looking at 1st and 15.
The Hornets are led by Josh Flowers. He's a 62% passer, has nearly 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. He also is the leading rusher for the Hornets with 800 yards. When he's passing, he'll be going to Bryce Kane or Cam Ward. Ward has nearly 350 receiving yards and 3 scores as well. Up front, the Hornets are a bit young, but not young in age, just inexperienced with football, and they're small, 5'10", averaging 229 pounds. On that carry right there, Rod Taylor picks up a few behind the line. It's 2nd down for the Hornets.
Roderick Taylor, with his 68th rush on the season, has over 400 yards now throughout this season, and that's what you want to see, positive yardage on 1st down if you're offensive coordinator Chase Calcagney.
2nd and about 3 coming up here for the Hornets as Taylor goes into motion. He's giving a little pop pass right quick. A couple of the guards pull, and look at Taylor pulling the load as he goes past the 35-yard line. 1st down for Baker. The MGM defense, they play a 3-4 and led up front by 6'3" defensive end Anthony Casino and nose guard Andre Jones on a line that averages 245 pounds. Inside linebacker Colby Gould is one of the Vikings' leading tacklers and heads an upper-class backer crew that will swarm as one to make tackles. Out in the secondary, look for freshman strong safety Shondell Harris to be all over the field. Zach Golston told us the kid could be one of the best freshmen in the country, Corey.
Well, when you start comparing him to being one of the best in the country, that's high praise. And we're going to have an injury timeout early here in the first quarter of action.
Looks as if one of the Baker.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ayla, hi.
Oh, hi, Sierra. How are you?
Good. How are things?
Things couldn't be better.
What do you mean?
Well, I just started this new job as a school teacher with the Mobile County Public Schools, and it has been a life changer. Great benefits, the hours are great, and great students. Just overall, it's a great opportunity.
Oh, wow. That's Ness. 1st and 10 coming up here for the Hornets. Direct snap to Josh Flowers as he crosses past the 25-yard line, is tripped up. About an 8-yard gain pickup for the Hornets.
When you start looking at 1st and 15, now almost another first down for Baker. 2nd down, and we'll call it 3 yards to go. A great first down design run by the quarterback, and that's what we talked about, being balanced. He's already handed off or pass to Roderick Taylor. We've seen him run over deep into backs, and here it is now, down and distance, you're ahead of the sticks.
Ball on the 26-yard line, a high snap, but they get it down to Taylor, and look at Taylor run into the red zone. Correction, Zion Davis on that carry, the backup tailback.
Zion Davis with his 30th rush. He just tucks that head, keeps the ball high and tight to his chest, making sure he doesn't fumble it. The 5'7", 183-pound senior getting positive yardage and picking up another Hornet first down. And Al, they are in the red zone area now. This is where the Hornets have to capitalize early.
Ball sitting at the 16-yard line. Taylor goes into motion as he lines up in the slot. And they're all going to run a sweep to this side, but cutting back Josh Flowers, he has room. One guy to beat, and he takes it into the end zone. That's a 16-yard scamper for Josh Flowers, his 11th rushing touchdown of the season.
And he just absolutely froze the cornerback Lett. And that's one of those to where the defensive back looked like he was picking for Flowers instead of tackling Flowers. Flowers with another dynamic and outstanding highlight reel run for the Baker Hornets from his quarterback position.
And the Hornets are going for 2 here with the direct snap. And flags are on the play.
2 flags now.
And as you can see, special teams coordinator out on the field, Zach Ford, like, what's going on? Possibly, I'm going to say, Corey, a legal shift or something of that magnitude.
At the top of the screen, I think the first flag was thrown for holding. The second one, I'm not quite sure what that was, because I was looking at the top of the screen to see if he was going to get in or if it was going to be brought back. And there we have the first penalty, and now we're going to assess the second one as well.
That was Cam Ward taking that direct snap as the Hornets trying to surprise the Vikings with a 2-point conversion.
And that's one that you work on all week long and really all season long situationally.
Correct.
You don't want to blow that opportunity, because if you show that on film again, then you're in a situation to where the opponent kind of knows what's coming.
So now Hunter Kilgore will come on for the extra point. It'll be a bit longer. It'll be 15 yards. Sorry, 25-yard extra point here after that 5-yard assessment. Kilgore's kick is up, and it is no good. Baker on top, 6-0. More action headed your way with the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
High school students, are you looking for a way to become a better leader? Then the Junior Officers Training Corps may be what you're seeking. If you would like to develop self-reliance, learn ways to be more responsible, and improve your communication skills, you can do that and more when you register for the Junior Officers Training Corps. The JROTC program is available to all high school students in Mobile County. JROTC, we build a better you.
And we have a couple of those out there for the Vikings. James Bolton, the wide receiver, sporting that star as well.
That's huge, man. Quite an honor. They fake it to Johnson and throw it out to Zion Hale. Hale brings that one in, and he brings the Vikings into the red zone.
The redemption for Zion Hunter, dropping the earlier pass, made sure he looked that one all the way in, making his 9th reception of the season. And what a big-time first down is. You make one defender miss, and you go ahead and pick up another Viking first down, and you mentioned it, right in the red zone area.
Jaden Campbell couldn't make the tackle, and Hale just shrugged him off. They give it to Keyshawn Johnson. He goes to the top side of the screen. That's going to be close to the first down, maybe a 9.5, maybe 10-yard gain. Let's see where the officials spot him at.
Keyshawn Johnson has over 577 yards rushing. He's only 5'7", but he runs extremely hard. He's very patient, pressing the holes. When he gets into the open field, forget about it, because he has another gear that I wish I only had even when I was his age.
It is 1st and goal, ball on the 10-yard line for MGM. Looks as if the game officials are waiting for the play clock to be pushed up, and a Baker defender comes on to the field there. Jaden Archibald runs on into the secondary. Low snap. Johnson turns the corner, and look at him barrel up near the 3 or 4 yard line.
And we're going to have an injury for Baker on the far sidelines, but not before positive yardage being gained by Johnson. And I mentioned how hard he does run. But going back to that missed extra point, I said on my checklist how important it was for MGM to be special team sound. And that meant making your extra points, because when you look at that loss they had to Foley, that's huge. But here it is, 2nd and goal.
Ball on the 4 yard line. Back to Johnson again. And he's going to go in for a 4 yard scamper. Touchdown, Keyshawn Johnson, and the Vikings are on the board.
Johnson, 6th rushing touchdown of the season. And I mentioned this young man had 100 yards, 105 to be exact, a week ago against the Davidson Warriors. He's trying to get to that 100-yard mark again, showing the balance that MGM can throw at you by offensive coordinator and head coach Zach Golson.
Aaron McCreaney on for the extra point. It is good. He is 23 for 28 on the season, and MGM's on top, 7-6.
This is a program for any middle school student who's actually behind. This opportunity offers kids a chance to do 2 grades in 1 year.
If it wasn't for Star Academy, I would still be in 8th grade and probably still struggling.
We are one-on-one. We have small classrooms, and we're able to give students that personal touch, that personal attention.
I know I'm coming to see good teachers, good attitude, and also they're here to teach us what we need to learn.
MGM answers Baker's score with a score of their own, but the PAT is good. So the Vikings are up by 1 in the Battle of West Mobile. Baker lining up to receive this kick. Rod Taylor back there along with others. McCraney about to kick off. I told our replay guy, get ready, Corey. We're going to have some points up here tonight. Rod Taylor fumbles it, but picks it back up. Taylor past the 25 up to the 30. Nice return by Rod Taylor.
And that's what you want to see. You want to see positive yardage off of the kickoffs, because you can set yourself up on a short field the way that Mary G. Montgomery did on Let's return. Now we'll see what the Baker Hornets are able to come away with, because Al, on that last offensive possession, it was a steady dose of the run game. They set them up. The balance of Flowers as well as Rod Taylor getting it done. We'll see here what adjustments defensive coordinator Alex Page makes for the Vikings.
Baker's going to start at their own 32-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Hornets. Bryce Kane goes into motion. Flowers going to keep it. Big hole up the middle. Look at him just throw the Vikings defenders to the side with his big frame. He is into Vikings territory near the 46, 47-yard line.
His long rushing yardage of the season had been 45 yards. Look at the phenomenal footwork.
Swatting flies, Corey.
It's amazing. Wow. This young man's ability and vision and to create things with his feet.
Another pop pass right there to Bryce Kane. He needs a couple blockers, and he gets maybe 1 yard as he falls forward, so we'll call it a 1-yard pickup for Kane.
And when you're sitting there chasing, you know, I love the fact that the defenders are going to go ahead and make sure they have great pursuit of the football, but something to keep an eye on is that ankle right there for Bryce Kane as he comes up a little bit hobbling on that play.
Was a little gimpy right there. 2nd and 9. They fake the jet sweep and give it to Taylor. Taylor picks up about 3, so it'll be 3rd and about maybe 5 or 6 coming up here for the Hornets. Big play right here, as you call it, money down, Corey.
It is definitely money down situation for the Baker Hornets. Can they cash in and keep this defense of MGM on the field? Now, notice when you start looking at the front 4 and 3 up front with your hands on your hips, that'll let you know how fatigued you are on both sides of the football.
Same play again. Up the middle goes Flowers. With plays like that, you can see how he is the leading rusher for Baker, rushing for over 800 and some yards so far this season.
And we mentioned it. He does have 10 rushing touchdowns on the season, trying to surpass the 1,000-yard passing and rushing plateau tonight.
Taylor with that carry picks up about 2. Actually, Corey, now he has 11. He scored the first one on the run tonight. So they're continuing to pick the Flowers and let Flowers do his thing.
And that's what you have to do. I mean, this guy is definitely not a weed. He's definitely a flower continuing to bloom right in front of us. You see a year of maturity and the confidence level that he has. Look at the high snaps, though. The timing has to be great for plays to be successful for Baker.
Pass incomplete to Rod Taylor. It's going to be 3rd down and 9 from the 29 of MGM. Critical play call right here. Baker down 1 point. 3:16 remaining in the first quarter. Al Whedon, Corley Bounty, Kimberly Dunn's working the sidelines tonight for the Battle of West Mobile, but you could more so say it's the battle for continuing to stay in the playoff hunt ball game tonight.
That's what's critical. You have to go ahead and win this game to keep your playoff hopes alive. And you can see both teams playing with a great sense of urgency.
Baker beat MGM last year 43-0 on a rain-soaked field at ES Grider Stadium. Flowers trying to make something out of nothing. A flag comes in from Gary Malden. That's in the direction of a possible hold as he motions to the Baker sideline. That one's coming back.
Joseph Miles, the 5'10", 244-pound senior left tackle, right there in front of our white hat, Mr. Malden. That's going to be an easy call. Mr. Malden called last night. He was evaluating, but had to come from his evaluating situation
on the offense, 10-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
To running the field down marker last night because of one of the injuries from the side judge. So He came down on the field. So pulling double duty last night.
Yeah, double duty.
You have to love the fact that he's all in, and we need more officials like himself, and overall the state of Alabama desperately in need of all type of officials.
You're right, Corey. I was talking to Carl McDowell, one of the officials, and he said, he saw you at the game last night. I said, man, you worked last night? He said, yeah, last night. Tonight, he said, we still need officials. So, if you'd like to be an official, make sure you hop on the Alabama High School Athletic Association website, or if you see Corley Bound in the street, ask him, hey, man, I want to do it. It's a very worthwhile cause, but there's a need right now for officials.
A tremendous need for officials because these contests, whether it's middle school, freshman or JV, can't be played without the officials.
That is correct. So it's going to be ball over on downs as MGM is going to take over here in their own territory. The drive comes to an end. It started at the Baker 32-yard line, but costly penalties, as you talked about it, Corey, trying to keep things clean. As we're going to have a punt here coming up, from Hunter Kilgore. But a stoppage in play here at the 2:01 mark.
Substitution infraction on the defense.
So Kilgore will gain an extra 5 yards before he puts this one in the air. Baker kind of basically sitting in no man's land. Coach Norman not going to go for it.
Remains 4th down.
Just going to maybe look for a little pooch punt coming up here from Kilgore.
And now there's going to be a timeout called by the Baker Hornets.
So maybe Coach Norman wants to discuss it, Corey. That 5 yards may make him say, hey, let's look at opportunity to try to score here. We're down just 1 point after we had the 2-point conversion, but we hadn't been clean and we got caught. So let's see if special teams coordinator Zach Ford, if they discuss some things and try to go for it here.
4th down and 12. I think that it's very important to flip the field here.
Let's check in with Kimberly Dunn on the sidelines. How are things going, Kimberly?
Everything's going great, guys. I'm missing y'all being up on top of the press box, so I wanted to let you in on what the atmosphere tonight is like on the field. As you can see, both stands are full. There's a lot of expectancy for this game. And as it goes, when each team is doing well, their stands are on their feet cheering. And when the other team's doing well, they're being a little bit quiet. So it's going back and forth tonight, but there's a lot on the line for both of these teams. Not only a rivalry, but like you have said multiple times, this is a region game that can determine a lot for both of these teams. So there's a lot at stake, and each team said they're going to do their best to pull out the win tonight.
I will be checking that back in with Kim later. And speaking of pulling out the win, Coach Norman has pulled the offense back on the field, Corey. They're going for it. Fly was looking to throw. Goes deep. Just out of the outstretched hands of Cam Ward. Possibly could have brought in 6 right there.
Cam Ward, the 5'8", 145-pound junior, would have come away with his 26th reception of the season, but instead we're looking at a turnover on downs. And now let's see what the MGM Vikings and their head coach and offensive coordinator Zach Golsett can come away with. And we talked about this MGM offense coming in averaging 30.1 points per game out.
It's huge.
You lose your first 3 games of the season, or first 4 games of the season, and then turn around and win 3 in a row. A lot of momentum in West Mobile, in Sims, Alabama, that is.
Hollins takes the snap, gets it out quickly to Bolton, who picks up a first down on that reception. James Bolton and Jared Hollins played park ball together for years, so they have natural chemistry working together, which makes sense why he, as you said, the top receiver in the state, Corey.
And Bolton, he averages 21 yards per catch.
Right.
So he shows his explosiveness that he has after he catches the football or being able to go vertically. And you see no press coverage by Baker at the top of the screen.
They're showing respect. Look, quick handoff to Keyshawn Johnson as he spins, but the Hornets swarm in to stop him and wrap him up near the 50-yard line. It'll be 2nd down for MGM.
Tim Williams has been very busy tonight from his defensive tackle position, and now you're looking at a situation where MGM's going quick tempo, getting to the line of scrimmage here on 2nd down and 6.
Triple stack to the top. They go back once again to Johnson as he jukes and shakes for about a gain of 2. 3rd down and short coming up here for MGM. Decision time just inside of Hornets territory as we are inside of the 1-minute mark.
We'll have one more play if they decide to run it before the first quarter of action ends. And here it is at 3rd down and 4. You'll see the Hornet hooligans crowd get very loud.
Corey and I are underneath the stands here at Clem Richardson Stadium, so we don't have the benefit of seeing the play clock. Trickeration, a double pass, and that's going to be possibly our first turnover of the ball game as the Hornets are all over it. Looks like Dylan Hudson in on it along with others. That's going to be a turnover. The Vikings got a bit cute with it, Corey.
And when you start talking about the timing, it has to be perfect, and it was not. And that one's going to be recovered by the Hornets. And you look at this, 1, 2, you try to go one more time, and Bolton didn't get it cleanly back to his quarterback. And because Hollins couldn't handle it, the Hornets were able to go ahead and pounce on the football.
Jamorian Griffin inside there to break it up, and Baker has great field position. The ball on the 40-yard line after our first turnover tonight. Let's see if the Hornets can get points off of turnovers. Empty set. Basically, that's a direct snap going to the quarterback, Josh Flowers, as he bulls his way up to the 35-yard line. That'll be our last play of the first quarter as MGM is on top 7-6, but Baker has gained the momentum with the turnover. Let's see if they'll put it in the end zone inside the second quarter. You're watching the Battle of West Mobile for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
There's a lot to like about Mobile County Public Schools.
What I enjoy about Mobile County School is the extra attention my teachers give us to help us learn.
Teachers are liking their access to technology, and students are liking the quality of their education.
I like the technology that's been incorporated into my education.
And since 1826, you have trusted us to prepare your child for their future, and we like that. Mobile County Public Schools. We are learning today, leading tomorrow.
We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Make sure you mark your calendar coming up this Monday. It is Teachers' Work Day. This Monday, the kids will not be in school, but it will be Teachers' Work Day after wrapping up the first quarter of the school year. And, Corey, I have to say, my son's pretty well. I took him to the shoe hospital yesterday, and they won't need major surgery like I will, but he'll have his shoes back on Tuesday.
Well, that's a great opportunity for people to get that long 3-day weekend.
That is true, Corey. That's right.
Again, the shoes are on vacation as well.
Yeah.
It's just what the doctor ordered to get those shoes fixed. And here it is, 2nd down and 5, just what the Hornets have ordered.
Ball on the 45-yard line. Handed off to Zion Davis. Davis on the move into MGM territory. That's a 55-yard run for Zion Davis. He's brought down at the 5-yard line.
Zion Davis running with a passion, has over 200 yards rushing now on the season, and I know he would probably like to get that football one more time to get his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season after that tremendous hard run. But here in the red zone area, you can dial up Zion or Flowers, and you can't go wrong with either one of them.
That's correct. That 50-yard run ran from the 45 to the 5. Bunch set right here for Baker. Kind of look for the handoff to Zion Davis, and he is clipped up right there behind a line of scrimmage by the Vikings.
Great job. I do believe if that was 22, Kobe Gould, the inside linebacker, 5'9", 190-pound senior, making sure that there was a 1-yard loss on that play, doing a tremendous job of shooting the gap.
Second and goal coming up here for the Hornets. Remember, this series started in the first quarter after a turnover that they caused for MGM. Flowers just going to keep it, see if he can barrel ahead. He does get inside of the 5. They're going to spot him at the 4. 3rd and goal coming up for the Baker Hornets.
And Alex Page, the defensive coordinator for the Mary G. Montgomery Vikings, encouraging his defensive line to get some pressure, because short yardage situations, who controls the trenches here? Will it be the Vikings defensive line, or will it be the Hornets offensive line that's able to get that push? There's a flag at the 13-yard line, and we'll get the call here.
Personal foul against Baker. That had to have occurred after the play. Maybe some jaw jacking or something going on, but that's not being clean, as you talked about, Corey, in your item on the checklist.
In the red zone area.
After the play, we have a personal foul on the offense, 15 yards, 3rd down.
So it's 3rd and goal from the 18-yard line. We were told Joey Miles had to go off the field limping for the Hornets, left tackle. So let's see who they're going to replace him with. Looks like Caleb Mack is going to come in and cover. Big play here, 3rd and goal, but it's in essence 3rd and 18 for the Hornets.
It is here. Your play calls change a little bit, but if you're the MGM secondary, you got to make sure that you don't commit a pass interference call and give that yardage right back. We may have a timeout that was called prior to the snap, and it is going to be a timeout for the Baker Hornets.
I believe so. Coach Norman's going to call a timeout right there. That's not a problem. Baker and MGM have met 58 times. MGM leads the series 30-26-2. But as we told you at the top of the show, MGM has lost 12 in a row. So in essence, Coach Norman has never lost to MGM, Corey.
Well, he's in his 4th year as the head football coach of the Baker Hornets.
Right.
And this year has been a situation to where he has a new defensive coordinator. He has the same offensive coordinator. And because of his loss of some coaches, they really were struggling to find their identity as a team early because not a lot of experience for this team earlier in the year when we had them against Wetumpka.
Right.
And here it is some 4 or 5 weeks later. We're looking for some guys that have gotten some very valuable reps for the Hornets offensively and defensively since that Wetumpka home game. And now here at 3rd and goal, we'll see what offensive coordinator Chase Calcagney can come up with. Now, we know Flowers can extend the play with his legs.
Right.
So we'll see here if the pressure can be made by the front 3 of this MGM defense.
See if they'll go for it all in one shot right here or try to get a half and more and then go for it on 4th down. Going into motion, Ashton Lovelace. Flowers back to pass. Has a man in the end zone, cannot hold on to it. Jaden Robinson, the pigskin, just a bit too slippery, cannot secure it. So now it's 4th and goal, ball on the 18-yard line. I'm pretty sure Baker's going to maybe possibly attempt a field goal here. It looks like Hunter Kilgore is coming on the field, Corey.
That would be a 35-yard attempt, and Flowers did a good job of putting it in the right corner of the end zone, just out of the outstretched hands of Robinson, who would have come away with the 7th. But look at the arm strength and the ball placement by Flowers.
Took his time, worked through his progressions. It's going to be a 35-yarder from Hunter Kilgore. He's 3 for 3 on the season. His longest is 31 yards. He missed the PAT, and that one is no good. So no points off of the turnover. The Vikings bow up, but more so, Baker shot themselves in the foot with a personal foul inside of the 5-yard line that pushed them back.
Right there at the 3-yard line, and because of it, Hunter Kilgore, the 5'7", 154-pound senior, will have an opportunity, I guarantee, later in the game to redeem himself.
Let's check in with Kimberly Dunn. What's going on, Kim?
Hey guys, I'm here with Mary G. Montgomery's Principal Chip Minton. How are you doing this evening?
Doing good so far. Let's hope we can hold on to it.
Hopefully so. Now I was telling you look familiar. You used to be the principal at Theodore High School, correct? And now you're at MGM. Can you tell us about that transition and about some exciting things that you may have brought to MGM?
It's been good. You know, there's a lot more students. It's a bigger school, but I was at Mary Montgomery as an assistant principal a few years back before I went to Theodore as principal, so it's been good, and kids have been great. It's been a great start, and there's a lot of excitement going on with football, and hopefully we can carry this game through and win a game here tonight.
Yes. Now, I know this season, one of the big things that your school has been working on is really building up the community and making it more of community involvement. How do you think that has affected your sports teams and the outcome of even tonight's game?
And that's what's great about Mary Montgomery is we are community, and everybody wants everything to be successful there. The community's done a great job of putting into the school and helping us. I think it's done great for our football program, but it's also good for our entire school, both academically and athletically. And so, as you know, it's a great community to be in, and we hope we can continue to build on it and make it even a better school.
And we know so that the sports have done so much this season, but can you tell us a little bit about some of the academics that Mary Montgomery has to offer?
Well, we have our academies that we have at the school, and our Signature Academy with our biomedical, our Project Lead the Way. We have sports medicine, so we have a lot that the kids can get involved in. There's a lot of different programs. and hopefully we have something for everybody, and that's what we're trying to do. And that's one thing I'll do while I'm there is even add more so everybody can be involved in our school.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. Best of luck to you, and go Vikings.
Thank you.
During that interview, looks like Baker held, so it's going to be 3 and out for MGM as they were talking to Principal Minton. Here's the replay right here. Pass was attempted to Caden Harrell. Just couldn't quite snag it and bring it in, Corey.
5th attempt or reception that would have been completed. Now you're in a punting situation here on 4th down, trying to flip the field if you're the Vikings.
McCraney boots it. Jaden Campbell's going to take it near the 35. Got a blocker in front of him. He ran one back to the house last week, and he's trying to get to the house right now. Jaden Campbell takes it in, Corey. Punt return for the Assassin, but we could have a flag on the play.
If not, if it will stand, a tremendous return by our huge impact player.
Correct.
And we mentioned him as an impact player because this is back-to-back weeks that he's found the end zone, whether it's on special teams or whether it's as a defensive back. This young man just knows how to find the end zone. It's a great senior night for the Assassin, and he just goes ahead and adds to the scoreboard for the Baker Hornets.
Kilgore on for the extra point, and he boots this one through. Baker's back on top, 13-7.
If you look at the numbers, Mobile County Public Schools is making great strides. With more than 53,000 students, 7,000 employees, and 90 schools, we are consistently increasing our 4-year graduation rate and our first-class pre-K program. We continue to strive for national recognition and continue to prepare our students for the global workforce. And we do all of this with one goal in mind, to equip and empower college and career-ready graduates. Mobile County Public Schools. We're learning today, leading tomorrow.
Jaden Campbell with a 55-yard punt return. Corey, that's back-to-back punt returns in 2 weeks for Campbell.
And you see why he's definitely an impact player. He shows his speed, and if we're able to take a look at this after the kickoff, the replay, how he waited for the ball to bounce to him, and now it gives your special teams for Baker a lot of momentum as a big-time hit in the open field by Jamorian Griffith, the 5'8", 190-pound linebacker on special teams, making a big play. And he waited for that ball to bounce.
Took his time, right?
Took his time to go ahead and get the rhythm and see where it was going to bounce to him. Once it did, after that ball did bounce, he took it off of the bounce, timed his blockers. There was no chip. Watch the bounce here. He's going to go ahead and size it up. I got it. I'm going to get it east and west. And as soon as I'm able to go north and south, I'm going to show my blazing speed. Great job in the convoy out front, too, running to the numbers. His blockers set him up perfectly. A great executed special teams play.
1st and 10 for the Vikings. Quick hitter as they throw it out to Zion Hunter. That's a 9-yard pickup as the Vikings are now trying to get back into the ball game after their first score. Gave up 1 turnover so far on a fumble, but Baker can capitalize, but definitely capitalize with that 55-yard punt return from Jaden Campbell. 2nd and 1 here. Ball just inside of the 25-yard line. Handoff to the back, Tristan Manning. I thought for a second Manning was going to do a flea flicker, Corey. He kind of looked back at Jared Hollins. Did you see that?
You did see him glance back,
right.
And Latrell Lett, the Sam linebacker, he's a senior. He disrupted that play, and you look at this young man, 6 foot, 220 pounds. It was enough to get the first down for the Vikings, but it was just by the snout of the pigskin.
Ball's at the 27-yard line of MGM. as we approach the halfway point of the second quarter. Play action trying to go back to hell as he is covered up by Dawson Kelly. Kelly basically forces him out of bounds. Second down coming up for the Vikings.
Now what you may see the Vikings do is find a way to get Bolton back in space, and whether that's a quick pop pass or whether that's a screen, allowing your playmaker to touch the football. We know, we mentioned earlier, Hollins and Bolton, the chemistry that they have. I just feel that you have to find a way to get him or Keyshawn Johnson in the flat.
Triple stack to the near side. They give it to Keyshawn Johnson, run the opposite way. Corey, he continues to hit the X button and spin a lot tonight as he jukes and weaves. Nice run by Johnson.
And he runs so hard. He just runs downhill. You don't see him running east and west a lot.
You don't.
Because only at 5'7", again, I mentioned how he presses the hole and he's not scared to take it between the tackles, even though being 5'7". Money down here. Third down and 2 to go. As you can hear the Hornet hooligans pounding on the bleachers here underneath the stadium. Are we?
Great turnout tonight here at Clem Richardson Stadium. We're hearing all the action, Corey, as you said, from the hooligans and the band. They're going to bunch it up. A direct snap right there that looks like backup quarterback Braxton Lavender who comes in. Let's see if it's enough.
No, sir. I don't think he received enough there, Al. I think he's going to be a little bit short.
Might have to do a number check. That looks like
18.
number 18, not 15.
And it's going to be Chandrell Harris, the freshman.
So the freshman comes over from defense. MGM's going to go for it. Harris back there taking the direct snap once again. So Vikings kind of in a wildcat formation. Be on the lookout for some trickeration. Nope, Harris is going to keep it. And I believe he might be close. I don't know. We shall see where the spot is. He kind of did a little spin and bounced off someone. So see whether, and they're moving the chains. That's a first down for MGM. Big pickup right there for the Vikings.
And that's what you have to do. You're 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but Chandrell Harris, Coach Golson calls him one of the best freshmen in the country, and he's able to go ahead and relieve Hollins and show the versatility that he'll have, because when you have a great Wildcat quarterback and an outstanding pocket passer, that's big time.
Johnson spinning, bouncing off the Baker Hornets for a big 9-yard gain. He's a very, very hard run, as you talked about. Definitely going north and south, and a Hornet down on the field right now. Looks like number 7 on defense for them. That would be Latrell Lett. As the trainers come out to attend to Lett. Take a look at some of the scores on the ticker rolling below. Big ball game tonight in 7A Region 1. The War on the Shore, you got Daphne and Fairhope going at it. That's a big one. And coming up at halftime, we'll have the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge. Make sure you stick around for that. Kimberly Dunn's going to try to get a winner with the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge. That'll be coming up, plus the bands as well during halftime here of our ball game at Clem Richardson Stadium, with Baker on top right now, 13-7 over MGM. Al Whedon, Corley Bounty, Kimberly Dunn. We're going to take an injury timeout and come back, bring you more action for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
If you're looking for fun, fashionable, and affordable jewelry, it's here. It's Paparazzi. We have a variety of colors and styles of bracelets, rings, necklaces, and earrings for all occasions and for every event. New styles are added daily, which means you are always up to date with the latest fashion. For that genuine bling, join me, Charmaine Watson, the real jewelry lady, on Facebook Live Sunday through Thursday at 7 p.m. It's cute, it's fun, it's fashion, it's $5, it's Paparazzi.
At Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today and leading tomorrow as they bring off Latrell Lett to the sidelines. We'll take a look at him. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Vikings, just inside of the 45-yard line. Hand off to Keyshawn Johnson. And he's met by a few Hornets right there at the midfield stripe at the 50-yard line.
One thing you notice about Keyshawn Johnson, he continues to churn his feet no matter whether he hits a circle button and the spin move or whether he decides to go ahead and take you heads up and run over you. But positive yardage, 2nd down and 6 yards to go as you start looking at it being right at the 49-yard line.
49, so they're 1 yard into Hornets territory. They fake the handoff, try to catch James Bolton on the slant, and Hollins threw a bullet in there, couldn't pull it in.
Takes the inside release on the route, and because of it, it's just one of those situations that 9 times out of 10, they're going to make that connection, and it was absolutely rocketed to him. But those two are used to the type of power that is exhibited. And Al, it is October now on the calendar. That's why you see a lot of pink from the players and cheerleaders and people in the stands, as well as this entire month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
3rd down coming up for the Vikings. Over the top they go. Almost brought in by Jalen Culver. Had his hands on it, just couldn't bring it down as it came to the turf.
A great job by Jaden Brooks in coverage coming from his linebacker position. And you start talking about this drive that's being put together. The penalty was declined on the play, and because the penalty was declined, you start looking now at the MGM Vikings having an opportunity to try to cut into this lead for the Hornets.
4th down for MGM coming up, this being the 11th play of this drive. 3:12 remaining in the first half, and I believe Zach Golson's going to call a timeout right there, let the play clock go down, discuss it, decides what he wants to do in this situation. Corey, during this 12-game win streak over MGM, Baker has recorded 4 shutouts, and they've won by a combined point total of 354 to 105. The closest margin of victory was 21-19, and that was when the streak started back in 2010.
Well, when you start looking all time, MGM still with that lead.
They lead the overall series, right?
But because of that overall lead and the closing of the gap, you look at the last 3 senior classes that have come through here, the last 3
have not lost to MGM.
That is pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive. It is.
From a Baker Hornet standpoint,
It
especially
really is.
against one of your biggest rivalries, as evident as the tremendous crowd that has arrived here tonight.
And that's something our Principal Minton talked about, the community. The effort is still there. I feel a great hire by bringing in Zach Golson, and the numbers are saying it. They're up to 115 players dressing out, only returning 4 on offense and 4 on defense. So the impact has definitely been made by Coach Golson and the crew that he has brought in to assist him here. 4th down, and they connect on the slant route right there. Shamar Elston, perfect timing from Hollins to Elson with the pitch and catch. 1st down MGM.
His 6th reception, the 6-foot, 160-pound sophomore runs the almost identical route that James Bolton ran. And I mentioned the inside release. There was no press coverage, and because of it, you were able to go ahead and get underneath the defender, and an outstanding thrown football by the 6'5", 180-pound junior that gets a fresh set of downs to the Vikings.
What I liked about that was his composure. Corey, he didn't feel pressured, just took his time, worked his progression, and found Elston. They handed off to Johnson, and he is battered, picked up for about a 3-yard gain, pushes the ball to the 28-yard line of Baker.
Jamorian Griffin, the 5'8", 190-pound wheel linebacker on the stop for defensive coordinator Eric Scott. His defense giving up 25.9 points per game, but the offense scoring 25.3 points per game.
12th play of the drive, they get it out to James Bolton, and Bolton's going to cross the 25 and go out of bounds, maybe near the 22-23. 3rd and short. MGM staying in front of the sticks right here in this situation.
And I mentioned just moments ago finding your playmaker, and that being Bolton, whether it be short screens or pop passes or even going vertically to the young man that has over 1,000 yards receiver. But you want your big guys to eat. The big dogs have to eat and continue to go to Bolton until Baker shows they can stop it. And Keyshawn Johnson also a nice little spell of relief as well.
3rd and short here for MGM. Direct snap. Looks like they brought in Shondell Harris again. And Corey, the formula is working. The drive continues.
And when you come in and you have a new quarterback, the center to quarterback exchange is critical. Can't be a high snap because there's a difference between 6'5", and he's already leaning forward as Harris as soon as he receives that football, but keeps the pile moving in a positive manner in a forward direction, picks up a fresh set of downs.
And remember, Harris is a freshman as well.
And this young man, I think here, over the next 3 years, we'll be calling his name a lot for Zach Golson, and it's a weapon that he's going to be happy to have along with Bolton for one more year. But now when you, again, look at our 1st and 15 for the offensive coordinator and head coach at the 24-yard line of Baker.
Ball on the 24, as you pointed out, Corey. They were inside of the red zone as we're under 1 minute. This is the 14th play of the drive. Pressure coming in on Hollins, and he takes his time, and he finds James Bolton for the score.
Your playmakers let the big dogs eat, and that is Skull Vikings as he again rolls his way into the end zone. Had 3 touchdowns receiving a week ago. Adds 1 more to that touchdown total, has 12 on the season. We'll have to go back and look at the route he ran, but what a phenomenal throw by Hollins and a great catch by Bolton.
And it looks as if the extra point is no good, or did they wave it off?
It's either going to be a penalty or a pre-snap situation, and no matter what it is, look at this right, the top of your screen. He looks and knows exactly where he wants to throw it, puts it in the corner of the end zone and beats the free safety on the play, Michael Johnson. But again, you have to go to your playmakers. And that's exactly what you saw there for the Vikings.
Timeout on the field. So right now notched up at 13, 25-yard pitch and catch from Hollins to Bolton with 35 seconds remaining here in the contest. Both of these teams averaging high points. You talked about it, Corey. Baker comes in averaging about 25 points and MGM at 30 points a contest. And speaking of points, this is something that was quite impressive, I have to say, about MGM. They've scored 211 points coming into this ball game tonight. That's more points than the past 2 seasons combined for MGM. So here's the extra point right here.
It was a timeout prior to, and that's why we're having the extra point now, Al.
And it is up. So MGM on top, 14-13. The Battle of West Mobile tightening up. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
You've got questions? We got answers. MCPSS.com. Whether it's attendance zones, school calendar, lunch menus, or registration information that you are looking for, you can find it right here. MCPSS.com. You can also get the latest news and district-wide calendar information, and it's just a click away. So when you need to know, and you need to know right now, check us out. MCPSS.com.
That was a 15-play, 83-yard drive for MGM, 24-yard pass from Jared Hollins to James Bolton. But most importantly, Corey, it chewed up 7 minutes and 20 seconds. That is huge right there.
It really is. It puts your defense on its heels, and now Baker has an opportunity to answer. But I mentioned in that drive, you got to find your offensive rhythm and find Bolton.
You said that.
Bolton is the best player on the field right now from a wide receiver standpoint, and that's going to be a live football. Baker's got to find a way to field it.
Wyatt Taylor scoops it up at the 6-yard line. pushes one MGM defender down, barrels into another, goes out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. So he made something out of nothing there, Corey.
That's what you have to do. But Josh Flowers, with 27.4 seconds remaining, can show his composure here. We'll see if the Hornets offensively can show their speed or their 2-minute drill execution. And this is not even a 2-minute drill. It's a 27-second drill
right
here, to where I think maybe Baker has at least one timeout remaining. And they're going to run all routes past the sticks, or you're going to have to burn that one timeout here. And you don't want to turn the ball over right here before the half. That's the biggest thing for Baker. If your Flowers don't force an interception here.
They're spotting it at the 25-yard line. Flowers has a lot of room, just runs it up the middle. That'll stop the clock momentarily as it picks up the first down. 18 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. And Baker has used their last timeout, as we can hear the PA guy announce it. Nice, smart decision by Flowers to just take it up the gut there.
Take it and run. Take what the defense gives you in that situation for Flowers. Add to that rushing total, and you would like to see him slide right there without taking a hit. The only hit you want Flowers to take is by the ground, essentially to protect his body and stay fresh. But now 18 seconds, all routes have to go to the sidelines, because even if you get the first down, the clock will stop for the first down.
And they're out of timeout, so you got to
clock it.
At this point, you're right, Corey. Got to work the sidelines, maybe get a quick 10 or 12 hitter, and then go for the big shot to go into the half, see if you can get the score.
Last year, he had two blazing wide receivers that he could throw Hail Marys to in this situation. And those two wide receivers, one's at Memphis and the other one at Kennesaw State, playing at that major collegiate football level. So here, Chase Calcagney, we'll see if he dials up and shows Josh Flowers arm strength.
Clock ticking. They set up a little screen for Zion Davis. He's not going to get out of bounds, and that's going to be our last play of the first half. A very interesting first half, kind of up and down. At one point, we thought things would maybe blow open, but defense has stepped up a lot today, Corey.
And that's what you have to have. I mean, you have both teams exchanging punches, and we mentioned this being the largest classification in the state of Alabama, being a heavyweight fight, fighting for playoff position, and that's exactly what we've seen back and forth. An exciting first half of action, which will actually lead to a great second half. And to what's to come, make sure you stay tuned in. For sure, you don't want to go anywhere. You want to catch the second half of action.
You don't want to do that. You can see Baker down right now by 1 point. They scored early in the ball game, went for two, had a flag called against them, brought out the special teams unit, and missed the extra point. So we'll see if that 1 point will come back to haunt the Hornets later on.
Well, what you have to focus on right now is knowing that you're only trailing by one. And with that deficit being in reach, we've seen a missed field goal. We've seen missed extra points.
Sure have.
So special teams are definitely going to play a factor in who's going to win this game. But more importantly, Al, I just love the fact that we have this matchup is leading up and getting all the hype that it was given.
Correct.
It's leading up to a great second half of action.
It sure is, and we'll be checking in with that Daphne Fairhope score as well, because that ball game is having an impact with this one. Let's take it down to Kimberly Dunn and check in with her.
Coach Golson, congratulations on being 1 point ahead. How do you feel this is going to help motivate your guys for the rest of the game?
Yeah, they're excited. We're playing well right now. Few mistakes, not as clean as we'd like it to be, but we're just going to keep on chopping and try to play a great second half.
What adjustments are you going to make with your team in order to secure that win?
Well, I thought our defense really played well. We got to button up special teams. That's probably one of the biggest areas where, they returned a punt right there, but we did some good things.
So much, Coach. I'll let you get with your team.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. He touched on it. Defense, very important, but got to shore up their special teams. The assassin has already showed up tonight.
He really has an impact player showing why he is that.
We're going to come back and give you some halftime performances. Right now, the performance is Vikings on top, 14-13.
A teacher is one of the biggest investors in a community.
They impact the lives of those we value the most.
Teachers share knowledge which helps shape and mold our future leaders.
Teachers show direction and help build a sense of purpose. Are you ready to make a change? For more information on teaching opportunities, teacher incentives, or to apply with the Mobile County Public Schools, log on to www.mcpss.com.
Let's take it down to the field and check in with the MGM Marching Viking Band.
Oh yeah. Okay, I have to jump. I'm scared. Go, Caitlin, go, go, go. Wait, I have to jump too. Go!
Sounds of the MGM Viking Marching Band. Let's take it into the stands and check in with Kimberly Dunn. It's time for the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge.
We're here with our Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge, and tonight I have chosen a Baker hooligan. How are you doing this evening?
Good, how are you?
Good. So can you tell us your name and what grade you're in?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Noah Rose. I'm a junior.
Okay. And what do you want to be when you graduate?
A chemist.
A chemist. Awesome. Now, you were also telling me that you are involved in several things here at Baker. What do you do?
I do Scholars Bowl and wrestling.
Awesome. That's so cool to see the students getting involved. Great, great thing. Are you ready for our question tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if you answer our question correctly, you get our Chick-fil-A prize pack. It has some Chick-fil-A gift cards, a t-shirt, some other cool things in there. So do you like Chick-fil-A?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. I think everybody does, hopefully. So here's your question tonight. The tradition of leap year began more than 2,000 years ago to add time to the calendar every year, or every 4 years, to keep up with the solar year. How much time is added to the calendar? So is it A, 24 hours, B, 48 hours, C, 72 hours, or D, 96 hours? What do you think?
A.
There you go. I was hoping a Scholars Bowl person would know the answer, and there's your prize pack. Thank you so much for coming on the field with us, and we wish your team the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. Right now it's time to take it over to the MCPSS Athletic Studios. Check in with Mike Herndon. What's going on, Mike?
Thanks, guys. I'm here with another Mobile County Public Schools sports update. The middle school volleyball county championships were held this week, and the winners were Grand Bay and Denton Magnet. Grand Bay topped Sims in an epic 5-set match to win the large school division, while Denton defeated Barton Academy in 4 sets to claim the small school title. Congratulations to both. In high school volleyball this week, Blount racked up a trio of victories over Viger, Williamson, and the Alabama School of Math and Science. Davidson defeated BC Rain, and Murphy knocked off Theodore and LaFleur. It's almost time for area tournament play, which will begin this week. In swimming, Baker and Davidson competed at a meet this week at UMS Wright, and several swimmers fared well. Baker's Andon Elsie won the 100 backstroke and 200 individual medley events, while Davidson's Sally Herndon was the first in the 100 butterfly and 100 breaststroke. Baker's Elise Jenkins was second in the 50 freestyle and the 100 breaststroke. And at a meet in Fairhope, Murphy's William King placed second in the 50 and 100 freestyle, while Sophie Eaton was third in the 50 free. Did you know there are also MCPSS students who compete in fishing? Garrett Sullivan and Triton Graham of Citronelle placed 4th out of 31 teams in the WSAT tournament recently in the Tensas Delta. Taylon Lovin and Ricky Vise of Mary G. Montgomery were 7th. And in middle school football, Sims defeated Burns 6-0. Washington knocked off North Mobile 38-0. Scarborough beat Clarkshaw 28-0. Phillips topped Alba 20-6. Mobile County Training School edged Denton 13-12. Williamson defeated Lott 13-0. Hankins beat Grand Bay 22-0. And Pillins topped Chastain Fournier 28-6. That's your MCPSS sports update for this week. Back to you, Alan Corey.
Mike, we do appreciate that. We're going to take a break and come back and bring you the Baker High School Marching Band after this break. We'll be right back.
Parents, if you have a child who will be 4 years of age on or before September 1st, 2023, then mark your calendar to register for the Mobile County Public Schools First Class Pre-K program. Online registration for the 2023-24 school year opens January 15th, so don't miss this opportunity. Log on to MCPSS.com for more information and a complete listing of pre-K sites, screening, and selection info. First Class Pre-K registration, January 15th. Save the date.
This is a program for any middle school student who's actually behind. This opportunity offers kids a chance to do 2 grades in 1 year.
If it wasn't for Star Academy, I would still be in 8th grade and probably still struggling.
We are one-on-one. We have small classrooms, and we're able to give students that personal touch, that personal attention.
I know I'm coming to see good teachers, good attitude, and also they're here to teach us what we need to learn.
We welcome you back to Clem Richardson Stadium. Right now we're going to take it down to the field and check in with the Baker High School Marching Band.
High School Marching Band under the field direction of Andrew Bowe and Kylie Latham. This evening the Baker Band will be performing its 2022 halftime program entitled It Was All a Dream. This program includes music from Phil Collins, Daft Punk, Imogen Heap, and A Million Dreams from the musical The Greatest Showman, which will feature soloist Michael Oliveira on mellophone. Drum majors, is your band ready? Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the pride of Baker High School Marching Band! I love you, Dave!
Sounds of the Baker High School marching band. Halftime about to wrap up. Coming into the second half, Montgomery on top 14-13. We're going to take a look at first half statistics put up by both of these teams, Corey, to get an idea of where we are numerically and statistically in the ball game.
Well, you start talking about trying to be balanced for the Baker Hornets, and a lot of your rushing has come from Josh Flowers. That 145 yards, he probably has over 80 yards of those, but Roderick Taylor's running extremely hard as well. -1 passing yards, that's something that has to change for the Hornets to stay balanced. You start looking at MGM, 62 and 95 for 157 total. The one turnover by MGM is something that I know they want to make sure they don't have any more of,
right,
as well as the penalty situation for the Hornets. They need to clean that up, and staying clean and making sure that they have great special teams are very important factors when you start talking about winning this contest in the second half.
That was one of the things you talked about in your checklist. The Hornets have to keep it clean, and that cost them when they were going for their extra point, and also cost them when they had the ball first and goal on the 3-yard line and had a 15-yarder unsportsmanlike conduct.
You go from first and goal or second and goal to backing yourself up to third and goal from the 18-yard line. That makes you have to go ahead and try the field goal, and that's not something that you want, especially when you have a 200-plus pound quarterback and you have a 200-plus pound running back. You want to give them an opportunity to punch it in for 6. But, again, the second half adjustments are what's going to be fun to watch, because this has been an exhilarating first half of football.
And speaking of fun to watch, I know our buddy Charles has a couple replays he's going to bring in for us as we had some scoring going on tonight. Right there, as you can see, Josh Flowers on the move. I believe that's going to be his first scoring touchdown. Took it 16 yards to the house, Corey.
And we talked about picking Flowers. Well, he went ahead and found the roses, the run for the roses, Josh Flowers. And then you look about this great return for the MGM Vikings along the sidelines.
Jarrell Lett.
Jarrell Lett. He hits the circle button at the end of this run, puts the Vikings in great field position. And also, you start looking at a great goal line or a great run by the tough running back for MGM, Keyshawn Johnson, getting 6, and Flowers off of the high snap handles it in to his running back, who's running extremely hard. We talked about Zion Davis, along with Latrell Lett defensively, really stepping up the duplicate number 7s, but here's the difference
maker. There's the play right there.
You looking at kicking to the assassin. He watches the ball bounce a couple of times, sizes it up. He gets east and west, then turns it north and south very quickly, runs for the numbers. Great job of the convoy of blockers in front of him. No penalty flags on the play. 55 yards later, the assassin, Jaden Campbell, cashes it in for 6.
And coming up right here is where Hollins went to Bolton, 24 yards, and that tied it up, and then MGM put on the extra point to seal the deal, and they're in control right now, 14-13. Corey, you had opportunity. We know we're going to talk about it in a second. We have Kimberly Dunn right now with Coach Steve Norman.
Coach Norman, what was the atmosphere like in their locker room?
It was great. They were excited. They're still excited. It's one of those games where, I mean, every moment's a great moment. It's a great – that's why I told them this is a great opportunity to be on a Friday night playing this game. We just got to stop killing ourselves. We got to stop our penalties, execute a little bit better, and we'll be fine.
Y'all were able to have a few explosive runs. Are you hoping to get a few more of those tonight in order to get this win?
Yeah, we're going to have to. We've got to get back in the game. We'll get the ball back here second half. We've got to drive it down, score, control the clock, control the game, and I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. So what adjustments are y'all going to make to get that win?
Well, one thing we got to do is stop the receivers from catching the balls the way they're on the inside slants. We've been kind of screwing that up a little bit, and we're trying to do some different star coverage, so we'll do that, see if it'll help us a little bit.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Coach. Best of luck.
Thank you, Kimberly. We're going to take a break and come back and give you the second half kickoff for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Don't move.
There's a lot to like about Mobile County Public Schools.
What I enjoy about Mobile County School is the extra attention my teachers give us to help us learn.
Teachers are liking their access to technology, and students are liking the quality of their education.
I like the technology that's been incorporated into my education.
And since 1826, you have trusted us to prepare your child for their future, and we like that. Mobile County Public Schools. We are learning today, leading tomorrow.
If you're looking for fun, fashionable, and affordable jewelry, it's here. It's Paparazzi. We have a variety of colors and styles of bracelets, rings, necklaces, and earrings for all occasions and for every event. New styles are added daily, which means you are always up to date with the latest fashion. For that genuine bling, join me, Charmaine Watson, the real jewelry lady, on Facebook Live Sunday through Thursday at 7 p.m. It's cute, it's fun, it's fashion, it's $5, it's Paparazzi.
It was just like an extension of home.
Bishop give you that outlet to give you a career, a successful career.
We're doing some great things at Bishop State. Keep an eye on us.
Hello, I'm Katrina Frazier.
And I'm Deborah Robinson, and we would like to be your next realtors. As homeowners, we know how confusing it can be searching to find that perfect home that fits your needs and budget.
For that reason, it's important to have a reliable partner to represent you and to be there for every step of your home buying process. You'll find the services offered through Berkshire Hathaway, Home Services Cooper & Company Realtors are second to none.
So whether you are buying or selling your home, call us today and let our experience work for you.
The MCPSS High School football game of the week is on, featuring the Battle of West Mobile. It's Al Whedon, Corey LeBounty on the sidelines, Kimberly Dunn, statisticians China Powell and Matt Moore. And Corey, right before Coach Norman came on, I was going to ask you about a good opportunity to go watch Pillins and Scarborough do it yesterday for a middle school ball game.
You know, we wouldn't be able to bring you statistics the way that we do without China Powell and Matt Moore.
Right.
And China Powell is the athletic director for the Scarborough program,
Correct.
as well as Matt Moore being the head football coach at Pillins. And China was able to one-up Matt Moore yesterday.
Oh, so she's going to talk the smack
She's got the bragging rights, and congratulations to Scarborough, the Knights, getting a big-time win over Pillins at Pillins yesterday.
Wow, and I heard they're still undefeated as well.
They are undefeated,
Wow.
and I think they'll play Booker T. Washington here coming up very shortly for some middle school football playoffs and championships.
All right. We'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the field right now. 1st and 10 at the 30. Josh Flowers going to keep it. As we saw with the first half statistics, Baker -1 in passing yards. And let's see if they can kind of get the passing game going here in the second half.
You just have to find some type of rhythm, because everything with Josh Flowers is designed quarterback run. And Devin Petway, the outside linebacker, 6'4", 225-pound freshman for the Vikings, making the stop. But offensive coordinator Chase Calcagney is going to find a way to get his playmakers the ball in space, whether it's with pop passes or go ahead and finding Josh with the deep ball. But balance is important here for the Hornets.
Giving some balance right there. Rod Taylor with the run as scores continue to tick in. He's close to the first down marker. Big win last night for Foley, beating Bryant. That was a 7A Region 1 battle, part of 5 games that took place in the area on a Thursday night. Corey, you had a game yourself at Ladd last night.
Williamson finds a way to bounce back with a huge win over Centronell, and you start talking about Antonio Coleman and the guys making that playoff push.
3rd and short for Baker. And Josh Flowers taking this one a long way, and he has taken it to the house. That's a touchdown for Josh Flowers, continuing to run, and they're going to get on those legs the best way they can and make it happen, Corey.
Another designed quarterback run, and his long had been 45 yards on the season. You can go ahead and scratch that off. He went ahead and ran the same exact play, and when you try to tackle this young man high and he gets to that second level, he outruns the secondary, and the run for the roses. Josh Flowers smells it, and it smells sweet. 6 more points on the scoreboard for the Baker Hornets.
Baker not chasing points right now, just going to go for the extra point. Hunter Kilgore on.
You call the Kentucky Derby the run for the roses, but when you have a thoroughbred and a stallion like you do with Josh Flowers, you run it, and run it some more. And, you know, you go for the triple crown, and Josh Flowers looking for the trifecta of touchdowns tonight is what he wants to go ahead and add to. But that's his 12th rushing touchdown of the season, and will put him close to 1,000 yards rushing on the season. He already has rushed the ball over 100 times so far, but that's very impressive. 1,000-yard rusher coming up and 1,000-yard passer.
There's the scoring drive right there. 3 plays, 70 yards. Took a minute 22 off, 61-yard run for Flowers. That was huge, Corey, and that's something Coach Norman said. We got to get it together and come out and run it down and punch him in the mouth.
Well, you had the score coming out of the locker room, and that's exactly what you saw. You saw the emphasis of scoring right here on the opening drive, as mentioned by head coach Steve Norman, and he got exactly what he asked for the offensive linemen, doing a great job. The big uglies up front as well.
High snap for Kilgore, and it is good. So Baker on top 20-14. Let's take a look at 7A Region 1 standings and the importance of this ball game. As we know, Daphne and Fairhope are playing right now. Fairhope lost to Foley last week. Baker has beat Foley. Foley has beaten Mary Montgomery. So you basically have 5 teams jockeying for 4 spots, Corey.
And that's what it is. The top 4 will go ahead and advance. And, again, you start talking about the Foley Lions putting a wrinkle in things with their huge win over Fairhope. And they're going to own that head-to-head with Fairhope.
That is correct.
So that's huge for Derek Scott, whose brother, Eric Scott, is the defensive coordinator here for the Baker Hornets.
Sure is. So that ball game is really huge, and tonight the impact from Daphne and Fairhope is going to have implications. Baker has yet to play Fairhope. MGM has yet to play Daphne, and as we told you at the top of the teleclass, those are the only 2 region games Baker and MGM have left. So the win tonight really kind of takes the pressure off of either one of these teams.
It really does, and the Hornet Hooligans crowd right here underneath, we can hear them rumbling in the bleachers, as we'll see if the Vikings have a big return.
Jarrell Lett on the return as he brings it up to about the 25-yard line. Let's take a look at 6A Region 1, and we know Saraland doing damage as they're number 1 in the state in 6A. They're playing Blunt tonight, and you have Spanish Fort, McGill, and Theodore right there. But St. Paul's still in the mix, Corey, so this is another one of those 5 teams jockeying for 4 spots. I'm going to say surprise team is McGill-Tulane at 3-1 right there.
It really is. You start talking about McGill getting off to that slow start, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Correct.
And their head coach has done an outstanding job rallying the troops, as Joseph Norman, when you start talking about the McGill-Tulane Yellow Jackets, always contenders.
Yeah, some folks have kind of written them off early on, but they've come back and gotten things together. 1st and 10 at the 26. Play action as they throw it out to Bolton, and his forward progress is probably going to get him up to about the 28-yard line. So 2nd down and 8 will be coming up here for MGM.
Great job of closing by your free safety, Michael Johnson, on the play, making an outstanding open field tackle. 5'6", 145-pound junior. And now when you start looking at down and distance, 2nd down and 8 yards to go for MGM, taking the signals from their head coach and offensive coordinator, Zach Golson.
Fake it to Johnson once again. There's that slant route, something Coach Norman talked about. They need to shut that down. MGM helped him out. Incomplete. Another bullet goes by Bolton.
He talked about changing the secondary coverage, and that's a situation to where, again, there's been no press coverage at the line of scrimmage, as Bolton has proved he has tremendous speed, and because of it, you give him that soft cushion. But when you let him run the inside routes, like you just mentioned on that slant, you're going to give up 10 or 11 yards as soon as he catches it, and you just have to be aware of where he is at all times.
3rd down for the Vikings. They're behind the sticks right now, down 6 points. Low snap to Hollins. He tries to escape, has room, has enough for the 1st down. seeing if he can shake another Hornet or two as he gets up near the 40-yard line, so we get to see the legs of the young man.
And this guy, he can flat out run in open space as well. Has 200 rushing yards on the season, but does a good job of taking the low snap, going through his reads and deciding to go ahead and tuck the football and use those long legs, the 6'5" frame, to get the needed yardage for the first down on money down, which was 3rd and long for the Vikings.
Big play right there for MGM to pick up that first down. A quarter of the way through the 3rd quarter here. Al Whedon, Corley Bounty for the Battle of West Mobile. Fumble, that ball is out, and it looks like Baker may be on top of it. That's going to be our 2nd turnover of the night as the Hornets collapse on Keyshawn Johnson, and he coughs it up.
Jamorian Griffin from his will linebacker position, number 11 in blue, creates the turnover. Great job of seeing and popping that football loose and ripping it loose. His teammates were involved, and Baker was able to pounce on it, and Latrell Lett comes away with another Hornet turnover. We'll see if they can turn it into points off a turnover from their quarterback, Josh Flowers.
Big turnover right there. Ball on the 39-yard line of MGM. Direct snap goes to Flowers, and he's met at the line. Going to lose one, push him back to the 40. 2nd and 11 coming up here for the Hornets as they try to capitalize off the turnover.
Colby Gould, the inside linebacker, 5'9", 190-pound senior, has done a tremendous job of stopping the runners in the hole. We saw him go ahead and take the legs out of the Baker running back earlier at the line of scrimmage, and does another great job there, creating a loss. 2nd down and 11.
Double stack receivers to the top. Taylor just to the right, goes into motion outside. Flowers looking to throw. Gets the ball to Cam Ward. He can't hold on to it. Drops the magic bean, Corey.
That's something that you look like there's no grease on that pigskin, so you got to look it in, and that's something that has kind of plagued the Baker Hornets this season. Last year combined, they only dropped the ball 10 times.
Wow.
And this season it's been more than doubled because you have new personnel at the wide receiver position, and it's something that I know that will continue to be cleaned up as the Hornets are trying to make a playoff push.
3rd and 11. Taylor goes out into motion again. We've seen this play a few times tonight, but it is stopped and shut down by the big fella, Anthony Casino. He grabs a hold of that jersey and pulls Flowers down.
Well, he hit the lever there and hit the jackpot. He's not gambling. He just does a great job of using his hands and his technique from his defensive end position and comes away with a huge stop and causing the loss, bringing down Flowers.
Baker punting. Blaine Munson has time, kind of pops it straight up. And appears if it goes out of bounds between the 20 and the 25. So MGM survives. No points off turnovers. Once again, that's 2 turnovers tonight Baker has not capitalized on.
Well, that's what you want to see if you're a coach. You love the fact that you go to the plus side of the turnover category, but you want to see points off of those turnovers. Baker leading 20-14 with 7:22 remaining. Now, we mentioned what a tremendous second half we were going to have, and so far it's lived up to all the hype. The Battle of West Mobile.
1st and 10 for MGM. The ball's on the 20-yard line. Eli Miller goes into motion, ready to set up and block for this screen to James Bolton. And Bolton is off. One guy to beat. Mickey Johnson tackles him out of bounds. That's a huge chunk play for the MGM Vikings.
Well, you start looking at, you don't have to go vertically to the 6'2", 275-pound junior. You just go ahead and you go laterally to him, and he creates yards after catch. And he hits the hesitation move and gains a couple of more. But, again, that's the big dog on the field, the leading wide receiver in the state of Alabama, 5th in the nation, statistically according to Max Preps.
And also a nice block thrown by Zion Hill to free him up as well. Some blocks laid down right there by the Vikings offensive line. Big one, 273 pounds, picks up about 3 yards for Keyshawn Johnson.
And Keyshawn Johnson, you don't have to worry about him fumbling anymore, because I guarantee that football will be squeezed so tight that he will never, ever let go of it. He'll probably go to sleep holding on to a football tonight, because he's just a young man who knows how to deal with adversity. Again, has already said what he can accomplish because of his height, but he's such a warrior and such a battler.
That was Johnson's 3rd fumble of the season. Hollins has time, but flushed out of the pocket. Flag comes out from Gary Malden. That's probably going to be a hold from his position as the flag sits just above the B, and there's the sign right there. So that's coming back against MGM.
Jamorian Griffin, number 11 in blue, comes away a little bit gingerly, walking away, and we'll have the official
play, we got
call.
holding on the offense. That penalty declines, 3rd down.
So Baker's on the decline. It basically kind of take the sack, the yardage equals out. So it'll be 3rd and long coming up here for MGM.
Well, what do you have dialed up here on 3rd down and long? One thing you don't want to do is turn the football over. You want to make sure that you're able to punt this football away and pin the Hornets deep in their own territory if you're not able to get the 17 yards needed for the 1st down.
Ball on the 47-yard line of MGM. But they're taking their time looking over to the sidelines, and we have eclipsed the halfway point of the 3rd quarter. Airing it out. Incomplete, Corey. So they were going to Bolton, but incomplete. It'll take MGM to 4th down here.
And that's what you want if you're Baker. You want an opportunity to get the football back. And it's great defense by the Hornets, just one-on-one coverage, as you could see everyone manned up and having an opportunity to kind of get little to no help if that ball is completed. And here's the punt by the Vikings.
All the Hornets release. McCrary's punt bounces off of a Baker defender, Gary Byers. Baker does have double numbers.
He didn't see it.
I don't think Byers, if it wasn't Byers, it was Zontae Williams, but the ball went off the back of his number 1 jersey. He had no idea.
Didn't see it. And that's where you have to yell, Peter, Peter,
right,
Peter. He's
right.
trying to block down the field, not realizing that the punter didn't get all of the football. And because of it, it hits one of the Baker players right in the back. And, again, he doesn't even see it, Al. And because of it, it's a live football, and MGM is able to get the football back just like a long pass, essentially.
Literally almost like a long pass. Something they were trying to get to James Bolton on that 3rd down. So it's 1st down and 10 at the 39 for MGM. Off his back foot, he throws it, and it is intercepted by Baker. Donovan Hudson right at the 1 or 2. That is huge, Corey. That's the 3rd turnover of the night for MGM, and the 1st interception.
On 1st down, you go for your kill shot, and he was able to get underneath the wide receiver, and the wide receiver was Shamar Elston.
Elston pulling on his jersey, as a matter of fact.
Because of it, great defensive positioning by Hudson. The sophomore defensive back was able to come away with it, and now you have to be careful because you're in the shadows of your own end zone. It's not a touchback. It looks like that ball would be down right around the 1 or 2 yard line.
He's close, so it looks like they're spotting it at the 2.
And that's the 3rd turnover by the Vikings tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
That is
now.
2 fumbles and the 1st interception. Flowers just going to try to run it out. As he stretches, he's going to take a slight loss. The ball was still in the field of play, but Casino was on him, Corey, trying to bring him down.
This 3-4 defense, led by defensive coordinator Alex Page, has to expect quarterback draw or some type of quarterback run, because we really haven't seen him get outside the pocket. The offensive line now has to be careful they're not called for holding while in the end zone, because that will lead to a safety. if you're called holding while the quarterback is in the end zone. Now, that ball is spotted at the 1-inch line right now for the Hornets. Flowers time.
Flowers running to his left, and that defense bowing up. His forward progress may have gotten him to about maybe the 3 as the clock continues to tick in the third quarter. Since 2000, MGM, if they allow their opponents to score 20 or more, Corey, they are 21 and 133, and right now Baker's sitting right at 20.
Well, what you want to see here is just give your punter enough room to where he doesn't have to worry about having a punt block. But Flowers is more than capable here of finding a way to get 9 or 10 yards with his feet if the defense doesn't put a spy on him.
Flowers once again running it. He has room. Started at the 3 and ends up near the 31 or 32. That is big time playing, Corey.
You look at the offensive line getting the push, and as soon as he gets past the line of scrimmage, great job of go ahead and making sure that you secure that block, and Flowers does the rest, and it's all Flowers. You do Cameron Wright.
Great block by Wright.
Has an outstanding job of making sure he wasn't holding, but Flowers, you know it's coming. It's just a matter of can you stop it, because it's been all Flowers right here with 3:17 remaining here in the third quarter of play, and there's going to be an injury timeout, probably a cramp for one of the Vikings. Looks like double deuces.
Looks like Colby Gould goes down. Let's take a look at the Alabama Sports Writers Association polls. We're going to start at 7A. Auburn holds on to the top spot another week as Fairhope drops to 5 after their loss to Foley last week. Outside the top 10 looking in sits those Foley Lions with 1 vote, and they had to hold off Bryant last night for a 55-32 win. So that's 7A polls in the state of Alabama. Take a look at the 6A poll. Saraland still on top here, as well as Theodore still solid at number 3. Remember, Corey, these two are scheduled to play October 21st when Saraland travels to Theodore. McGill-Tulane sits outside the top 10 with 4 votes, and we'll take it down to 5A. And right there, UMS Wright still holding on the number 1 spot atop the poll. Gulf Shores moved up 1 spot to 6 after their victory over Williamson last week. At 10, Faith Academy enters the poll for the first time this year. And on the outside looking in, there are the Viger Wolves picking up 4 votes. They're playing LaFleur tonight over at Lab People Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, but when you start talking about Jack French picking up win number 300 in his career, used to be here at Baker.
Sure did.
And was able to take them to the playoffs, and he's just a wonder worker. But here, 7A Region 1, Flowers at the 33-yard line looking to try to add to that lead.
1st and 10. He does pitch it to Zion Davis. That's a live ball, and that's going to be a turnover as Flowers pitched it. And recovering that ball for MGM, John Robinson, outside linebacker. Here's the replay. When he thought he should pitch it, he should have pitched it, Corey.
And it took 7 was already on the ground, and because the running back was already on the ground, really Zion Davis had no chance to scoop that ball up because the ball bounced over his head as he was already down, and Flowers would really like to have that one back. Baker's first turnover of the game puts MGM at the Hornet 29-yard line.
What do they say when you play spades, Corey? You think long, you think wrong. So Flowers had pitched it when he initially thought it would have been there, but that slight hesitation causes the Hornets their first turnover of the night. No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10 coming up for MGM.
When you start looking at the 3 turnovers by MGM and the 1 by Baker, now no points off of the turnovers so far for the Baker Hornets, even though they have turned MGM over 3 times. Now we'll see if MGM is able to flip the script and get points off of turnovers tonight.
Trip receivers to the top. Johnson back there by himself in the backfield, and boom, he is met at the line, blowing it up for Baker. Antonio Williams with the tackle, Corey.
And that's what you have to do. You go ahead and you come quick and hard in regards to how you hit the hole. And you look at the 5'9" senior plugging that hole for the Hornets and almost takes the handoff.
Right. That was close to a Jadeveon Clowney right there. Man, that was a huge hit coming in by Williams. Third down here for MGM, trying to capitalize off the fumble that Flowers just created. And I believe Zach Golson is going to take a timeout. So we're going to take a timeout at 1:40 here. We might be able to get our Game of the Week Brain Buster tees up. So coming up, we will give you the question for the Game of the Week Brain Buster. So stick around. We'll put Corley Bounty to the test once again. Let's just bring the question on right now. Executive producer Quentin Howard as he talks in my ear. All right, here it is, Corey. Let's go for it. Name the last coach to win 4 games in a row at MGM. Is it Brad Lowell, Brian Seymour, Scott Leslie, or Tommy Davis? The last coach to win 4 games in a row at MGM, because we know MGM comes in tonight winning 3 games in a row. Something they haven't done since 2016. So we'll let Corley Bounty think about that, and we'll reveal the answer later on in the broadcast. But right now we have to see what Zach Golson is going to reveal. He calls the plays as well as head coach, so it's third down, critical down right here.
Money down now, and you're behind the chains down in distance-wise right here at the 34-yard line of the Hornets. Let's see if Baker can get off the field.
Play action. Hollins throws, has a man in the end zone. That's Bolton, and it is a touchdown. 34-yard pass to James Bolton. Bolton still down as they tend to him in the corner.
I think he had the wind knocked out of him as he hit almost that drainage mark. He rolled over right on top of the football as he was able to catch that outstanding place football by Jared Hollins, who absolutely puts it on the money. You look at the play action, he goes ahead and rolls to his left, keeps his eyes down the field, but you let Bolton get behind you, and he does land directly on top of that football. Holds up a 1 saying, I got the football, I made the clean catch. And he absolutely did a great job by the official recognizing that the ball was not bobbling.
Right.
It was cleanly grabbed, and they're working on the cap. Maybe a cramp. Hopefully that's all it is for the young dynamic wide receiver who leads the state in wide receiving yardage, and he's going to add to that total his 2nd of the night.
That's his 13th of the season. That's a 34-yarder. He caught a 24-yarder late in the second quarter as the young man
he's cramping,
kind of tending to his calf right there, and trainers going to assist him to the sidelines. What a beautiful pass and a great grab from James Bolton.
This young man is special. 6'2", 175 junior, putting the country on alert that the MGM Vikings have a quarterback wide receiver combination to be taken seriously for the next couple of years.
McCreaney's extra point, no good. No good. So we are tied at 20.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ayla, hi. Oh, hi, Sierra. How are you? Good. How are things?
Things couldn't be better.
What do you mean?
Well, I just started this new job as a school teacher with the Mobile County Public Schools, and it has been a life changer. Great benefits, the hours are great, and great students. Just overall, it's a great opportunity.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Yeah. I'm going to look into that.
You should.
For more information, visit mcpss.com/job opportunities.
We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Notched up at 20 apiece. McCreaney's extra point, no good, Corey. The MGM fans kind of letting the officials know. Great ball game we have shaping up right here.
Well, as we start the fourth quarter, we'll take a revisit of my checklist. and we'll see exactly what the keys were as we start the fourth quarter of action here in 1 minute and 30 seconds, and we'll see if the momentum can strike Uncle Mo. We'll see if he's with the Vikings or back with the assassin now.
Jaden Campbell, he's already returned a punt return tonight, and that's a kickoff return up to the 49. Great return by Campbell. It's going to give really great field position for the Hornets here.
Well, that's what you can ask for. How do you answer momentum? By being able to do that. And when you start looking at the checklist, what did Mary G. Montgomery have to do? Play great situationally in the red zone and on third down. They had to pressure Josh Flowers, and they needed to be special team sound. That's why we're at 20 apiece. You look at Baker. What did they need to do? Baker had to be balanced. Well, it's been an all-run game. Not a lot of balance there besides Josh Flowers being steer on defense and playing a clean game without a lot of penalties. 20-20. What an outstanding contest so far in the Battle of West Mobile.
Speaking of that balance, they're going to keep it on the ground running. Josh Flowers once again picks up about 2. Injured Hornet down on the field. Trainer's going to come out and take a look at him as we are less than 1 minute. And Corey, I believe it might be cramps. It was warm today. It's kind of cool now, but it was pretty warm today here in the Mobile area. And we've seen a few players going down tonight.
Hydration is so very important, and it's not just today that you have to hydrate. You have to make sure you're hydrating 24 hours prior to and getting all the fluids into your system. And again, you've mentioned that's probably the 4th player tonight we've seen go down in a cramping situation. But Kimberly Dunn mentioned it, that the humidity is not high tonight.
No, it's not.
And the temperature was going to continue to drop as we kicked off right on the BSN weather forecast at some 77 degrees. But again, the hydration is so very important. You can see when you do cramp up the type of pain that it causes. And I do believe James Bolton on the other sideline after that touchdown reception was cramping as well. But Flowers back in action for the Hornets.
Flags on the play.
Snap, false start on the offense.
So that's going to push Baker back 5 yards with a false start. Clock resumes here. About to wind down the third quarter. 2nd and about 8 coming up here for the Hornets. Once again, another run by Josh Flowers. He leads the team in rushing. Tries to get over the 50, but driven back by the Vikings. And that probably may be our last play of the third quarter. As Flowers just going to take his time as the game clock will expire from the play clock. We're tied up 20-20 going into the fourth quarter. What will be revealed here in the Battle of West Mobile? Don't move.
A teacher is one of the biggest investors in a community.
They impact the lives of those we value the most.
Teachers.
High school students, are you looking for a way to become a better leader? Then the Junior Officers Training Corps may be what you're seeking. If you would like to develop self-reliance, learn ways to be more responsible, and improve your communication skills, you can do that and more when you register for the Junior Officers Training Corps. The JROTC program is available to all high school students in Mobile County. JROTC, we build a better you.
We welcome you back to Clem Richardson Stadium for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. About to start the fourth quarter. Al Wheaton joined by Corey Bounty on the sidelines is Kimberly Dunn. The Battle of West Mobile is notched up, Corey, 20-20. 12 minutes remain. Can MGM break the 12-game losing streak? Or will Baker continue on and dominate?
Well, you know, when you have lost 12 in a row to your West Mobile rival, it's very similar to the Tennessee-Alabama rivalry, to where you just forget what it feels like to come away with the win. It would be huge in his first year, for Zach Golson to break that winning streak. But
Correct.
Coach Norman, it would be even bigger for him in regards to keeping the playoff hopes alive here on senior night here at Clem Richardson Stadium.
Third down, about 9 to go, ball on the 50-yard line. Flowers throws it high to Cam Ward, incomplete.
Well, I know
fourth down.
At halftime, Baker only had -1 yard passing.
Correct.
And that pass total has not really gained a lot of momentum in the third quarter of action. But fourth quarter of action, 20-20 in this 7A Region 1 matchup. That's huge as far as playoff implications. Baker's going to try to flip the field, Al.
Blaine Munson on to punt. Munson has time. Pops it up in the air once again, and the Hornets is going to let it go out of bounds to the 35. All right, Corey, we're going to put up our brain buster question and then reveal the answer. So here's the question. Name the last coach to win 4 games. Well, there it is. Scott Leslie, Corey, started the 2007 season 4-0 by beating Citronelle, Baker, Bryant, and Blunt. But we'll make it better for you, Corey. Here's your +1.
Okay.
Scott Leslie was the last MGM coach to lead the Vikings to the playoffs.
You know, what I like is the answer C. I like the answer C.
I knew you'd love that.
That is my favorite letter of the alphabet because my name starts with C. I'm going to go with Scott Leslie.
There you go, Corey.
And the answer is Scott Leslie,
Winner,
folks.
winner, chicken dinner.
And again, Brad Lowell, now the athletic director here in the Mobile County Public School System.
Correct.
So, you know, Brad, nothing but love for you.
Former head coach at MGM. And some love shown to Keyshawn Johnson right there as the Hornets tackle him with a nice pop by Latrell Lett.
Well, again, you expect the hitting to be fast and furious here in the fourth quarter of action as both of these teams are fighting for their playoff lives. And it's just like we're knotted up at 0 because we are at 20 apiece. And MGM trying to sustain a nice drive as they had almost a 7.5-minute drive earlier in the contest.
Ball on the 41-yard line. So he's trying to pick a hole, and they're all clogged up by the Hornets. It's going to bring up third down for MGM.
The pursuit from Tristan Knight from his defensive end position, 5'10", 205-pound sophomore, makes his 22nd solo tackle, and we do have an injured Hornet, maybe number 47 on the play at Xavier Jackson. I think that's the nose tackle. And
right.
We'll see him being tended to on the sidelines there.
We'll take an injury timeout and be right back with more action.
This is a program for any middle school student who's actually behind. This opportunity offers kids a chance to do 2 grades in 1 year.
If it wasn't for Star Academy, I would still be in 8th grade and probably still struggling.
We are one-on-one. We have small classrooms, and we're able to give students that personal touch, that personal attention.
I know I'm coming to see good teachers, good attitude, and also they're here to teach us what we need to learn.
We welcome you back to the Hornets' Nest on the campus of Baker High School. Approaching 10 minutes remaining in the ball game. Jared Holland's empty set. Incomplete as he was trying to get it out to Keyshawn Johnson. Johnson had leaked out of the backfield and set up formation with the receivers. It's 4th down here for MGM.
What you decide to do here is try to play field position.
I'm with you, Corey. You got to punt it. You got to flip the field here. You got to. Ball sitting at the 41-yard line. Let's see if Coach Golson will roll the dice and come up with some trickeration. Something is kind of the momentum is kind of left for both of these teams right now. They're trying to grasp for something. McCreaney does punt it. Campbell calling for a fair catch. His own teammate ran into him. But did the ball touch one of the Hornets? And they're jumping as if it did.
I think it may have. And the
officials are discussing it.
Saying no, it didn't touch him. And so it looks like.
I saw his teammate running to Jaden Campbell.
That's what they're discussing right now.
It's Baker's ball. Let's see if we can get that on replay, because if that had touched one of them, which we saw earlier where the ball hit one of the Baker players. I don't know if it was Gary Byers or Zontae Williams, but it hit number one.
But
this is a great shot here, Corey.
You have to make sure that you just get out of the way. You have to know where the football is. He's calling for the fair catch, and he was almost blocked into him to his.
That's what it was.
To his, I guess to speak for him as a returner, you have to know, though, even if you're blocked into the person who's receiving the football, that you don't want to be that close enough to get blocked into the football, because we've seen one turnover right there. But
and that was Shondell Harris had blocked the Baker Hornet into Jaden Campbell. Once again, the freshman all over the field. He's on the field now and going deep. Josh Flowers has a man, and Bryce Kane drops the ball incomplete. And you could hear the air go out of the Baker Hornets fans, because we're underneath the stadium, Corey.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
He spins it and puts it on the money. A beautiful spiral, catching it in stride, didn't look it all the way in. And that's one that you can't have back. You know, one of the drop balls that is not an explosive play you can kind of live with, but not an explosive play that would have led to a touchdown. Right, for the Baker Hornets, and now it's going to be second down and 10 yards to go, I do believe.
And Baker has called a timeout. We see them with 2 timeouts right now. And if he takes that, that would be his 1 timeout remaining. Let's take a look at the statistics through third quarter, continuing, Corey, to ground and pound the Hornets running the ball.
But you look at the overall total yardage, only 10 yards of separation when we were at the end of the third quarter, 3 turnovers to 1. None of those turnovers have led to points.
By the team, that's correct.
And that's why we are tied up at 20 apiece. But right before we went to that graphic package, you saw Josh Flowers go over to his wide receiver who dropped the football in that situation, kind of pat him and encourage him. Don't worry about that, young man. I'll come back to you. And
Bryce Kane there.
Bryce Kane will have an opportunity once again to redeem himself. But I just love the leadership that Josh Flowers showed on that play, not dropping his head in frustration, picking up a teammate and letting them know that, big brother, I need you for the rest of this game, and we're going to need you to catch some footballs in order for us to win. Put that play behind you, and let's play on second down and 10 here if you're right at the 24-yard line.
Well, Corey, I do need to check. MGM did score off a Flowers fumble, so that's points off to the 34-yard touchdown pass toward the end of the third quarter. A little dump-off pass right there to Rod Taylor. He needs 1 or 2 blocks. And holding on for that block, Zontae McWilliams kind of gave Taylor a yard or 2 extra. Let's see where they spot him at. It'll be third down coming up.
Great push by the offensive line, a great dump pass, and you know, Flowers is going to make better decisions. And you look at the blocking down the field by the Baker Hornets. Outstanding job by your wide receiver out front.
So third and short coming up, a long 2 here for the Hornets. Taylor rolls out. They throw it to him. He does have a block from Cam Ward there and gets past the 40-yard line. So Baker trying to get some momentum and move. 9 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the ball game.
Well, what's important is that you go ahead and you complete that pass, because sometimes that's the hardest pass to complete.
Right.
The one that's laterally or 1 yard, but great blocked down the field by the wide receiver, because all it takes is to get a hat on a hat when you're in the open space like that on the short side of the field. Now Flowers with a fresh set of downs.
1st and 10 from the 41 of Baker. Taylor goes out once again. Flowers going to keep it, cuts back, and that's going to be a face mask. Anthony Casino, and he's looking around, who me? I think it was probably inadvertent, as he was reaching for some jersey and probably grabbed the mask, Corey.
Well, we'll see if you have a horse collar, but I want to say it looked like a face mask. Flowers is holding his bird cage, but we'll see what we have or whether they're going to wave it or not.
They're waving it up, and that's what I was saying. I believe he was grabbing jersey, and it looked as if it may have grabbed the face mask. Let's take a look here.
We'll get that tight shot, and it was no face mask.
Yeah, that's
it
jersey.
was all jersey.
Right.
And the officials do a great job of talking and communicating.
I like how they discuss that, because the flag came in from Gary Malden, the back. He was just blocked from that view. So 2nd and about 13 coming up here for the Hornets. Flowers takes a loss. Ball at the 38-yard line. Pulls it out the belly of Taylor. Gets back close to the original line of scrimmage. That'll bring 3rd and about 10 here for Baker.
Well, where you are here in this game at 8:39, your head coach, you're talking and listening to your offensive coordinator on the sidelines, Chase Calcagney, knowing, hey, are we in 4-down territory? Do we want to go? Do we want to flip the field? Looking ahead on the script. And it really depends on how much yardage is picked up here on 3rd down and 10 as you are on your own 40-yard line.
Ward goes into motion. Flowers looking to throw. That's costly. That's a live ball. It goes back. The officials looking at Casino, says, I have it. I came up with it. And they are calling it a fumble.
And I don't think the ball went past the line of scrimmage. And that's why it was called a fumble instead of an attempted pass by Flowers.
And it looks as if it was going backwards too,
we'll
Corey.
Take a look at this
to
replay.
Rod Taylor. Watch 9 come back to Flowers.
Great job of squeezing the pocket.
Right there.
And he flicks it.
And it appeared to be a pitch back or a lateral rather than a forward pass. Taylor was eligible as a receiver, as a back, but that could be costly. Another turnover by the Hornets.
And you start talking about the pressure that was being applied by the Vikings, and our 5th turnover of the contest.
And that's Flowers' 2nd fumble tonight. Shondell Harris comes in to give a spark. The freshman, as he sparks it up the line and knocked out of bounds by the Hornets. Dawson Kelly pushes him out. Harris limping a bit there.
He's probably catching cramps too. And that's what we call a Charlie horse back in the day.
That's true, Corey.
Instead of the cramps. But again, we mentioned his ability to run out of this Wildcat formation, and we've seen him do this a couple of times tonight as he pulls up right there, knowing that Charlie horse has gotten the best of him, but at least he's on the sidelines while they tend to him. And it gives Baker's defense and the defensive coordinator Eric Scott an opportunity to talk to his team as well.
And that might be the spark MGM needed. Remember, I was talking about both of these teams kind of searching for a little momentum. And we noticed on the statistics that Harris has some yardage on offense. So not only is he playing defense, special teams, but he plays offense as well.
And it goes to speak of the confidence that his head coach has of this young man he's very special and explosive, and he shows his speed there, getting beyond the line of scrimmage.
Next week, we're taking it back to Ladd Stadium. Our first look at the LaFleur Rattlers. They're going to be hosting BC Reign. It'll be Thursday, another special Thursday night edition, Corey, as we call it, the only game in town.
And the Rattlers were playing tight against the Viger Wolves. 7-0 was the last score that I saw in the 3rd quarter there.
Coming up Monday, Teachers Work Day. Don't forget Teachers Work Day. Don't send the kids to school. I'm pretty sure they told you, Mom, Dad, I am off school on Monday, October 10th. Teachers Work Day. 1st and goal. Low snap to Jared Hollins as he takes it and gets close to the end zone from the 8 up to about the 2. So it'll be 2nd and goal, maybe the 3. They're going to mark him at the 3. So 2nd and goal coming up here for MGM. Nice look right there at the MGM Vikings band.
Al Baker has 2 timeouts, and they look discombobulated defensively in this goal line set.
They fake it to Johnson up the middle. Goes Hollins for a 3-yard score. That's Hollins' 5th rushing touchdown of the season.
And Hollins is able to reach pay dirt as the young man, again, has over 200 yards rushing on the season. 6'5", 180-pound junior. And here's the all-important point after, which has been the difference maker so far in this contest.
Kick is up by McCreaney, and it is good. 27-20 is the lead. That's more points off turnovers for MGM. Off of 2 fumbles, they have capitalized, and that's why they're in control.
Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right.
There's a scoring drive right there. Jared Hollins, 2-yard run, 3 plays, 35 yards. The majority of that was done by Shondell Harris, but 50 seconds taken off the clock. But Corey, that's the 2nd score off turnovers that MGM has capitalized with.
Well, when you start looking about being able to capitalize off of turnovers, that's huge. And I think that in this situation right here, how will Josh Flowers respond? Because he has negative 1 yards passing because of a few drops by his wide receivers. And you start looking about that drop that his teammate had that would have been 6 on the board, and instead it's 6 on the board for MGM. And now Baker will try to go ahead and get a good return by Campbell, but MGM goes ahead and covers him up right around the 23.
They eat him up, 24-yard line. Jaden Campbell goes nowhere. So Baker takes over. 6:50 remaining here in the ball game, down 7 points. Now, I talked earlier, if MGM gave up 20 points, what their record was. Corey, since 2000, when MGM scores 20 or more, the Vikings are 61-42, so now the numbers flip in their favor. And let's see what the defense will do. But more importantly, as you said, what will happen with the offense being led by Josh Flowers, pretty much doing it all on the ground tonight, basically.
You have to know if you're the defense, 3-4, it's going to be Flowers time. He's not going to give up the football. You have to get some pressure at the line of scrimmage like that, and there's going to be a flag on top of that play. And you compound things, if that's a holding call against the Hornets, now you're going to be looking at 1st and probably 19 or 20 yards to go.
Does appear as if it will be going against Baker, as Gary Malden will give us the call here.
In the right, have holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
Those are the ones that hurt right there. It's going to push Baker back to the 14. So not a spot foul. 1st and 20, empty set. Kane goes into motion. And Flowers tucks it, goes up the middle. A flag comes in again.
Another holding, I do believe, by Baker.
And if that's the case, as you talked about it at the top of the broadcast, Corey, and later on, the Hornets have to stay clean.
You must, and you must put yourself in a situation to where you give your offense a chance, and now you're really going in the wrong direction now, as, again, we'll get a lot of action by our white hat tonight.
They're coming up for Baker. Not too many plays in the playbook for that.
Catch the football. That's what you have to do. Catch the football if you're the wide receivers for the Hornets.
Running it once again up the middle goes Flowers. Ball comes out. That's Flowers and Baker's third turnover and third fumble of the ball game. And MGM comes up with it. Popping up number 18. Guess who, Corey? The freshman, Shondell Harris.
Design quarterback run, and great job. Just an outstanding job of ripping the football away and creating another turnover, which sets your offense up in prime position here to go ahead and be in the red zone. And uncharacteristically, 3 turnovers.
Very uncharacteristic, yes.
For Josh Flowers.
The Hornets may have gone to the wishing well one too many times, as Shondell Harris still on the field with the direct snap. He's forced out of bounds near the 10, and the momentum totally swinging the Vikings' way. Uncle Mo has hopped into an oop.
Back to somewhere to where it hasn't been in 12 years
12
now.
years. Hollins back in. Out of the gun. Fakes it to Keyshawn Johnson. That play goes nowhere.
Great job of Xavier Jackson coming back into the game along with Jamorian Griffin from his linebacker position, making sure that Hollins does not have any positive yardage. And he probably would have been better off go ahead and handing that football off in that
Correct.
RPO. But a big money down for this Hornet defense. 3rd and 11 now for MGM at the 15-yard line, right at the 14.
MGM can pick up a first down without scoring. Over the top, they're going back to Bolton. Incomplete, almost picked off by one of the Baker Hornets receivers in the defenders in the end zone. Near that play was Jaden Brooks.
And you look at the assassin, Jaden Campbell, in defense, knocked this ball. It's the tip drill. He tried to tip it to his teammate and was not able to come away with that reception. But it is 4th down now. Will MGM decide to go ahead and kick this field goal to give them a 10-point cushion?
Looks to be a 31-yard attempt for Aaron McCreaney. His longest is 28. The kick is up, and it's good. He hits him 31. That's his new longest of the season. And the Vikings stretch the lead to 10. It's a 2-score contest right now.
A great cushion for the MGM Vikings out off of that made field goal.
Don't move. We'll be back with more action.
Our children with special needs deserve a place to play. That is why we are coming together to build the Miracle League of West Mobile Schmidt Family Park. It will include a special needs ball field and playground, regulation baseball and softball fields, and more. We have raised more than $1 million and construction will start soon, but we need your help to complete the project. Visit MCPSS.com/Miracle League to donate and to learn more. Any dollar amount will help bring a smile to a child's face. Together, we can make a miracle.
After the 3rd Baker turnover, MGM capitalizes with their 3rd score. Corey, they've scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Unfortunately, all fumbles by Josh Flowers for the Hornets.
What a difference a month makes in your season. You started off 0-4 and lost in heartbreaking fashion.
Correct.
The Vikings did in regards to their 4 consecutive losses. Being in every single contest and not coming away, but what great character it builds to where you just keep chopping at wood, You never lose faith as a community, as a school, as a team. And the Vikings have shown and stayed together through adversity. And because of it, they're looking to improve their overall record to 500.
That's correct. There it is. 2-yard touchdown run from Jared Hollins. 3 plays, 35 yards. Another short 50 seconds taken off of the clock following points off of turnovers. And Corey, you alluded to it, starting off losing 4 in a row. But the ironic thing was 3 of the 4 losses were only by a total of 6 points because 2 of them were overtime losses by 1 point.
Yep.
So the Vikings have played tough. They've hit their average tonight at 30 points. And if you want to talk about numbers going into their favor, we'll go back into the Atlas once again. Since 2000, if MGM scores 30 or more, Corey, they are 33-7.
Flowers time for Baker, and you have to know that if you're MGM, you just want to make sure you don't give anything up that's explosive, meaning 15 yards or more. You'll take the 10-yard or more run because if you're tackling in bounds, as soon as the ball is spotted, the clock starts to run, and you're down to a little under 4:10 here in the fourth quarter. So just keep Flowers in front of you because he's been the workhorse for the Hornets.
And the Hornets need to score twice, down 10 points. Flowers looking to connect with someone, just kind of throws that one up. Incomplete as he was trying to reach Jaden Robinson, but he was being wrestled down to the ground by one of the Vikings defenders.
3:55 remaining, and Flowers shows his body strength, his upper body strength and his lower body strength by go ahead and shrugging off that defender who was at his feet. And because of it now, the Hornets facing a situation to where they just need to continue to get first downs. Can't get 10 points in one play. I've seen weirder things happen in football. Just go ahead and keep the clock moving if you're the Vikings.
Second down for Baker. Flowers back to throw. Escapes the pocket, rolls to his right, just hauls it off. No one near the ball. Bryce Kane, the farthest receiver down the field. Third down. Flowers has the arm strength, but do the receivers have the capability of being able to haul it in, as you just saw the strength of the young man right there?
He does have a tremendous arm, but if you're the offensive line, you have to, right here on money down, give your quarterback time. That's the biggest thing. Don't commit a penalty for holding, as you have done in the red zone area that killed drives. Give Josh Flowers time, keep him clean, and allow him to make the play for you.
All the Viking faithful on their feet. It is quiet under here, the stands. Flowers almost sacked, intercepted. That's the 4th turnover of the night. Jarrell Lett, and he's trying to take it to the house as Zontae McWilliams wrestles him down. And Corey, that might be it. The Vikings may be wrapping up that 12-game losing streak tonight. Look at the pressure on Flowers.
It came from the weak side, and he felt it at the last minute from Qualante Westry. 6 foot, 200 pounds, senior from his outside linebacker position, and Lett turns on the Jets. Let it be an interception for the Vikings. Another turnover for Baker. And again, the Sims faithful are feeling it come a little bit more closer to winning time and victory formation.
Ball at the 5-yard line. And Corey, as I look at my sheets here, if I'm correct, all 4 of the Baker turnovers have occurred in the second half.
That second effort, there was no whistle. I think
I don't see. And there's the mark. There it is. And that's the 4th score off of a Baker turnover. Keyshawn Johnson puts it into the end zone. 5-yard run for Keyshawn Johnson.
Well, he is able to squirt through that hole, and things have gotten a little bit brighter. And Sunnyside Sims, Alabama, and again, the Battle of West Mobile here at Clem Richardson Stadium was knotted up at 20 apiece as we came out of halftime. And we've had a great second half of action that has really been a matter of turnovers being the difference
It
here
has
in the
been.
second half.
That's Johnson's second touchdown tonight, his 7th on the season. But ironically, every turnover that Baker has committed, MGM has taken advantage of it. And we talk about that all the time, Corey. Can you get points off of turnovers? And the Vikings going for 2 right here. Up 36-20. So no touchdown. Touchdown taken off the board. Thanks to our director, Fran Conway, sitting executive producer, sits in the seat. So a timeout called by MGM.
And what you have to realize is, again, the great communication by the officials. One of the line judges says and signals that it was a touchdown. Someone else decides that, hey, I blew my whistle prior to you signaling touchdown.
Correct.
They gather together to talk about it, and MGM just says, okay, well, if you didn't give us a touchdown there on first down, we're going to punch it in here on second down. And that's what exactly head coach Zach Golston is talking to his offensive line and his players about, his guys. We're ready for this touchdown opportunity here to put this game away. And we want to see you get that push at the line of scrimmage to give Keyshawn Johnson or Jared Hollins with that 6'5" frame. But I'll tell you what you don't want to do. You don't want to stretch out and fumble the football in the same exact end zone that we saw a 99-yard return go the other way with 2:29 remaining. So ball security here inside the 1-yard line is imperative for MGM.
Vitally important. They're marking it at the 1 because the call was a bit late when they finally signaled it, but no problem. Direct snap.
Harris.
Shondell Harris gets the score, his first score of the ball game. And there it is right there, 26-7, we were told. Fairhope on top of Daphne in another critical 7A Region 1 matchup. And now it's official, the 4th score off of the 4th turnover tonight by Baker.
Well, you definitely have that comfort and that cushion, and now you're going to decide to go ahead and kick the extra point. If you make this, it will be a 37-20 game. And now we were knotted up at 20 apiece.
At halftime, right.
And now 17 unanswered by the Vikings of MGM. Has been huge here in the second half of that. Baker was able to come out of the locker room and get a huge score.
They got a quick score. And speaking of scoring, let's put up our Career Tech Education player of the ball game. And no doubt about it, Jared Hollins, Corey, he did it on the ground, he did it in the air, but he did it very composed, but took advantage every time when they got a turnover, they got a score.
Well, you have to have points off turnovers, and you have to make the other team pay. Now, you start looking at the turnovers by MGM,
right?
And where were the points for Baker? Well, Al, guess what? They didn't have any.
None.
Even
no points off
turnovers.
turnovers.
Over MGM, I think 3 times.
3 times in the first half, and all of Baker's turnovers that I just checked my sheets occurred in the second half. There have been 3 in the fourth quarter and 1 in the third, 3 fumbles and 1 interception. And the MGM faithful are just absolutely going wild here as they're looking to take home that trophy, as you talked about it, Corey, the Battle of West Mobile trophy. This would be huge to end a 12-game losing streak, and something you pointed out, that is 3 graduating classes that has occurred for this win streak for Baker over MGM.
You know, when you start looking at being in kindergarten, the last time that...
Don't say it, Corey, don't say it.
I mean, that's how you look at it, Al, because you're 17 or 18 years old when you graduate, and 12 plus that 5, 17, 18 years old, you were in kindergarten the last time that Battle of West Mobile trophy embraced your school in Sims, Alabama. But if this holds a big-time win, not only for your school, your community, but from a 7A region standpoint, and that's going to be a completed pass finally for Flowers that gets them out of the negative passing yardage in the statistics sheet.
And I'll say, Corey, since I've been a member here on the team with the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week, I've never seen MGM defeat Baker. They came close one time a couple of years back. I was working the sidelines. They came close, but this would be a huge win for Viking land as they're trying to pull down Flowers. He escapes, decides to keep it, gets near the 30-yard line as we are under 2 minutes here in the ball game. And we said it at the top of the contest as we told our buddy Charles Martin in the truck, get ready. You're going to have some replays tonight, buddy.
Explosive offense. You mentioned what MGM came in averaging. You said 30.1. Well, they've added to that scoring average, and Baker's defense only gives up 25.9.
Correct.
And you start looking at them giving up 37 tonight, and they've been of the explosive variety.
Flowers steps up into the pocket, connects with Cam Ward, a connection that we haven't called very many times tonight. He tried to reach him into the end zone one time earlier, overthrew him, timeout called by Baker. With 71 seconds remaining here in the contest. Don't forget, next week we're going to Ladd Stadium. It'll be BC Rain and LaFleur, a special Thursday night edition of the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week, looking to be the only game in town. And our first look at Renato Jackson and the LaFleur Rattlers score.
Well, you start talking about the culture that Renato Jackson has been building at LaFleur. It's not going to be evident on the wins-losses side. It's bigger than that for what he's building and the culture he's trying to embrace. And with both of these teams having on-campus stadiums being built currently, a lot of pride in both of these schools. BC Rain will have taken the loss tonight to UMS Wright, and LaFleur having lost to Viger. Both of them will be looking to get back to their winning ways next week.
Second down coming up here for the Hornets as some of the Hornet faithful departing the stands here, down 17 points. Setting up a screen for Bryce Kane. Needed one more block to free him up, but he should have enough for the first down, which stops the clock momentarily.
Al, but again, I want to emphasize the great job that Zach Golson has done. His program starts 0-4, and now through the 8th week of action, you're looking at a 4-4 overall record. And next week, where do the MGM Vikings head? None other than the Daphne, the team that he coached as the offensive coordinator 1 year ago.
Low snap to Flowers as he falls on it, and he's tackled immediately. And now Coach Zach Golson will be the second coach, well, not the second coach, but the most recent coach to win 4 in a row at MGM to match Coach Scott Leslie.
And when you talk about the Baker Hornets having a bye week next week,
they do have a bye
at a better time because you start looking at the cramps and the bumps and the bruises and the number of carries that Flowers has had. He needs some recuperation time to be fresh for this final finish of the last week of high school football that will be coming up here because, again, week 9 being your bye and week 10 being the last game that the Hornets will play.
Right.
But again, I can't speak enough about another team in the state of Alabama that started off 0-4 that lost games in a closer manner than Zach Golson did, and what a phenomenal job. Again, we mentioned Jared Hollins and James Bolton. Get used to hearing that name.
That's right, that combination. You just talked about Baker on a bye next week, but most importantly, after that bye, they're playing at Fairhope, which is their last region game. And the last week, they're going to host 6A team Mountain Brook on a Thursday. But the importance of Baker being on a bye next week and MGM playing Daphne next week will pretty much let Baker know if they'll even have a chance to possibly get in, Corey, at that point when they play Fairhope the following week.
And as Flowers is going to attempt this pass here on second down, he's going to let it rip down the middle of the field, and it's going to be the longest completion of the night. But I want to get in this last little nugget as well. The quarterback coach for MGM, Kurt Page, I know my mom is a Vanderbilt graduate, but so is Kurt Page. He was the last quarterback to lead Vanderbilt to a win over the University of Alabama in 1984. He's
Look
right
at
there
that
on the sidelines. Kurt Page, the quarterback coach, who you look at who his nephew is, It's the defensive coordinator, Alex Page.
That's
so,
right.
Some great pedigree on the sidelines for Coach Zach Golson. And I do remember that 84 win that Vandy had over Alabama. And wouldn't it be an awesome feeling to know that you were the starting quarterback at that point in time to beat Alabama, or the last Vanderbilt team to do so? And Zach Golson has accumulated an outstanding coaching staff, not only of Alex Page, but Enrique Williams. And there's a lot of former South Alabama Jaguar players on his coaching staff as well. And it's starting to pay dividends in just getting the guys not to quit, fold. Stan McCain, who was the former coach at MGM, he is now at Daphne as an assistant coach as well. So it'll be a great matchup.
It will
next
be.
week.
The ties are still kind of tied together. Flowers throws incomplete, and the clock is going to run out, and MGM has broken the 12-game losing streak in the Battle of West Mobile as they storm onto the field. And you have to congratulate Coach Zach Golson and his Vikings for a well-played ball game. Corey, you're right. We were 20-20 at half, 17 unanswered points by MGM put up.
Well, what you have to do is credit both coaches for knowing what was at stake tonight and coaching their teams up and knowing that we were knotted up at halftime at an even score, knowing that essentially it was 0-0. And we had a fantastic game tonight, and it was just a little bit too much of Highlands and Bolton, and as well as Harris, the young freshman who played a wildcat position, who recovered a fumble and just was very active. Also, you'll start hearing that name a lot, and you better wake up if you're the rest of 7A because, you know, upset alert is no longer a factor for the MGM Vikings. 4 wins in a row for this great Sims community, and I guarantee there's a lot of excitement that's going to go into the presentation of that trophy as well.
Corey, had to check my sheets at half. We were actually 14-13
okay.
MGM. Remember the third quarter.
That's right.
Baker came out and scored. So, but at the end, we were correct. MGM puts up 17 unanswered points off of 4 turnovers, 3 fumbles, and 1 interception.
So if we were, I think maybe 20-20 at the end of the third.
End of the third quarter, we were 20-20.
So 20-20 at the end of the third quarter instead of being knotted up at halftime. Still great adjustments by both of these coaching staffs, and you start talking about the respect for the Battle of West Mobile. That's amazing.
It is.
12 years.
If we're able to get the final statistics up, I know Kimberly Dunn is trying to get head coach Zach Golson. So let's take it down to the sideline. She's with the winning coach, and I know Kimberly is excited herself.
Coach Golson, congratulations on the win, a historic win, 12 years in the making. Congratulations. How are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm soaking wet and I'm cold right now, but yeah, I'm excited for our kids. You know, God gets all the glory. Every time anything we have something good happen to us, God deserves all the glory. And so I'm just happy for our fans, our students, everybody, man. It's been a long time coming, and this is just the beginning.
How do you feel like this is going to help continue to motivate your team for the rest of the season and hopefully even a shot at playoffs?
Yeah, so it's got to get back to work. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but we got a lot of work to do. You know we had a good football team. We just got to keep on going about our processes and keep doing what we've been doing, man. I'm really thankful for all of our people, thankful for our families and everybody that supported us. Started 0-4, wasn't the way we wanted to start, but we'll keep climbing, just keep playing.
Yes, well, congratulations, Coach. I'll let you go celebrate with your team.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
All right, I know Kimberly's excited. Here's a look at the final statistics, Corey. Eventually, Baker got some passing yards, but it was too little too late. 4 turnovers really cost him in the end.
If I were to tell you there were 7 total turnovers and the point spread would be 17 points, you probably wouldn't believe me. You look at the penalty yards against Baker, 7 for 65, killing their own selves. Like you said on my checklist, just having to be clean in situations, and they weren't. But the passing yardage, 53 yards, not enough for Baker, but they had the overall total yardage and outgained MGM.
Sure
but
did.
The final scoreboard says 37-20 in favor of the Vikings, ending that losing streak.
Well, you said it, Corey. We were going to have an exciting game, and we're looking forward to next week. Thursday, a special Thursday night edition of the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week will be at Ladd Stadium with the pregame action kicking off at 6:50. It will be BC Rain versus LaFleur. For Kimberly Dunn on the sideline, Corey Bounty in the truck, executive producer Quentin Howard, director Wade Ford, and engineer Fran Conway. I'm Al Whedon, thanking you for a great ball game tonight. MGM breaks the streak and gets the win, 37-20. Have yourself a great weekend.